Oh, hello.
Wait, did you just say if you eat the sausages more, they'll get better?
Yeah. Wear them down.
You're a cock.
Fucking hell, she's a lot lairier than I remember. Is that because of track conditions or wasn't it? Oh shit. Right, we're nowhere near up to pressure yet. What is going on? Something's not right. Is this loading my setup?
Talking to you is not nowhere near my mic. Can you hear me, shut yeah?
Yeah, I can't.
No.
Why aren't my pressures getting anywhere near where they were the other
I pressed
day?
the Twitch one by accident.
Probably because the conditions are different from the other day. So you might need to change your pressures. You fucking penis.
Oh, shut up, Daniel.
Fucking hell. And you won races. How the fuck did you win races?
Magic.
Sorry, you won races on an arcade game.
Magic.
He's won races on this as well.
Yeah, see.
In AM.
I've won a race in Pro, haven't I?
Pretty much AM.
There's no way you've won a race on Pro in this.
I don't remember him winning a race on this in Pro.
I don't think I have in Pro, to be fair.
Mike has.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, yeah, I have. Bathurst.
No, you didn't. I won.
Yeah, I did.
No. No. That was Pro-Am.
Was it? You were in Pro?
Yes. Yes, I was in Pro-Am because Matt wanted to race in Pro, so I swapped with him.
I feel so shit.
That's because you are.
Yeah, all the tides have turned. Couldn't lace my boots in Project Cars, could he, Matt?
Not without raising
That's
the
right,
ride out when you can only change the downforce.
rapido. Oh shit.
The more and more I stayed in the channel, the more and more you got scared of me. And you lost your edge. The longer I was in the channel, the more and more you got scared.
I didn't lose my edge. I just don't know how to use this contraption that's in front of me.
The same contraption you use every day when you drive your normal car.
I'm quick in my normal car.
Yeah, no shit.
I'd say
moving.
I'd say drive it like your normal car, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That seems to be in the garage more times than
I need a wheel that feels more lifelike, to be fair.
It's in the garage more often than not.
He's not wrong.
Every time he comes on, it's in garage again.
Mustang's in the garage again. Oh, my dream Mustang. My fucking dream Mustang.
How is the Mustang coming along? We don't know to it yet.
It's going to get all the fabrication done.
Nice.
All the welding and that. We're gonna build the engine this winter.
I hope so. How's it going to run on? Hopes and dreams?
Well, that's what it's running on at the minute.
You need to get your phone and stream to Twitch so that we can watch and have a giggle.
Yeah. So you're falling out with your car.
So you're 2 seconds off. You're 2/10 slower than DJ Phil. I don't want to alarm you right now, but...
Mate, you are shit!
Rapid.
Fucking Dean Wasocki would be quicker.
Is this the right weather for the race?
Yes.
Track is green though, Sup.
So I've practiced for absolutely nothing.
Mom.
Because my pressures are all over the shop.
They'll come up eventually. Just got to use some hopes and dreams.
That's what I'm doing at the minute. 26.8 on the rear, 25.9 on the front.
Well, fucking go in and change them then, you knob.
I already have.
Oh god, I'd hate to be a race engineer. So how's the car feeling,
lose your
Statty?
shit with him.
Can you please report back, Statty, how the car's feeling?
Beautifully shit.
Beautifully shit. Okay, can you define beautifully and shit?
Although, Sutty, could be worse. You could be 1 point. You could be nearly 2 seconds slower than DJ Phil, like Monkey Boy.
No way, really.
He's got damage to his car as well. Monkey Boy is the slowest of all the lap times.
If I speak to him later, I'm going to go, well, I thought Sutty was shit, and then I saw your time.
Why isn't he getting a party with me?
He's in a team with all the Greasy Bandits. lot.
Do you want to hear something funny, Matt?
This setup's amazing.
You want to hear something funny, Matt?
Yeah, go on.
Plowden messaged me. Well, I messaged him because he asked, am I genuinely struggling or whatever?
Yeah.
And, what did I say? He goes, I'm not too far off you. I'm suffering understeer and a horrible turn in. Can't lie, it's been a struggle all this season. I said, yeah, I've got understeer and oversteer. It's horrible. I didn't see that Mercedes. I did see that Mercedes was holding you back. He goes, it does, trust me. The only track that I seem to be comfortable on is Kyalami. It's a big barge. I said, should have stayed with the McLaren. He goes, I'm not even going to deny it. Donny, Monza and Kyalami are mint. Everywhere else, it's just a no-no. Just jump back in the McLaren. It just makes me happy. Even the Aston feels better than the AMG. It's a massive learning curve. I was like, was it worth a shot? But how competitive the grid is now is always going to be hard.
I'm not doing any practice because it's not helping me whatsoever.
And then, what did he say? He goes, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be in it this season. I wasn't expecting it to be this competitive, to be honest. But I'd admit, I would have to say that Hypo, that was the drivers last season were more cleaner, and the newbies coming this season are a lot dirtier. Been taken out in every race so far in the AMG this season. Would be using it again.
I'm not going to lie, right? I'm going to change his mind there. If he was at the back of they probably felt how dirty it was then. The fact that he was decent and at the front is probably why it wasn't dirty.
I did say, yeah, I did think it's a big mistake for you, to be honest. It's not had much problems with the new driver. I haven't had much problem with the new drivers, maybe because they see the number one and they just get out of the way. But yeah, there's a lot faster now and sitting after each race. He then goes, he's been
up again, Matt.
Oh, fucking shut up, you loud prick.
What is it?
Put what up?
The hood that you have up in the middle.
So when you press drive,
yeah,
press options.
Right, yeah.
And then it says
options.
Settings.
View settings, yeah.
Yeah, and then on there it's read me through them.
Dashboard display on.
That's the one, on, and then make sure you save it at the bottom.
Right, sound. Because it must be a Car Pacific, isn't it?
Mm.
He then goes to put, he's been trying to get me in that thing for 2 seasons now. I thought, fuck it, why not? Be like Mike and tried the Lambo, but then get on with it. You know what, I don't sweat about it much, to be honest. But definitely fierce grid. I'll be back for you next season, don't worry. I said he probably wanted your setups, and that's why you're testing it and driving it. And he hasn't.
Like what we were testing, Matt.
Whatever this is, this is what it'll be.
Oh, fuck's sake, man.
But it won't be green because Mark's left it to be set for Friday.
Why was
So
it
there'll be more
different
grip.
before? Like, why was it so
Because
hot
it's
before,
green.
like?
Because we set it on Thursday night based on an average.
Right.
And then Monday, the weather gets set for GT4. Tuesday, the weather gets set for GT3. Today,
I'm going
the
the
weather
other
gets set
pie.
for,
Best up, boy.
today, the weather gets set
I'll keep
for
him
Pro.
company.
Alright.
Good luck, Sutty.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking need it, I think.
Yeah, you fucking are, because you're shit.
Good luck,
I
boy.
am. I tested, did alright, now it's fucking wink.
He's already gone. Come on, Bentley boy.
I hate that though.
Whinge, fucking whinge.
Oh.
You're trying to tell me something, and he's fucking every
He's
5
always like that.
seconds.
He's always like that. He doesn't fucking shut up.
Right. Results posted for them.
I'm fucking talking, mate. You can fucking wait your turn, you can. Yeah, so as you can tell, Cloudon's kind of regretting his choice of car.
Yeah. The minute he saw you test that Lexus a lot, unlike the Lexus, he should have confirmed McLaren, ignored what John said, and just gone to fucking fight you hard in that McLaren.
Or in the Aston.
Or the Aston, yeah.
I still think that Hypertech wanted him to ride the Mercedes so he could get like a few tweaks and changes done to his setups.
He's got Go setups, but with sounds of that. Go setups, Cloudon tweaks him a bit. Bosh.
God, going straight to bed after this.
I might not be so fucked next week. I was looking at the bot for GT4. Mercedes gets 40 kilo. Everything else gets a lot less. So everybody with ballast will be running more than what the bot would give them.
But we don't run the bop on GT4.
No, but I get, you know, like we did the other season when we just sort of read it to get a bit of an example of what car seems to be more bopped because of it being a bit more better. I
Yeah.
was just looking for that.
And the Mercedes is relatively good around Monza.
Mercedes is plus 40 kilograms. So it would have been max bopped.
Oh, God.
Okay. 5, 4. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. Back for yet another week of Pro-Am action. We headed across the pond stateside for our journey to one of, I believe, 2, maybe 3 visits to United States this season. I know we visit Kota. I believe it is just the 2 visits this season. Laguna Seca, though, is our track of our destination this week. It was selected by nobody. The Wheel of Names picked this one along with Kyle Army, as nobody had selected that track. So obviously the first 2 tracks this season was selected by Insert Coin, one of our patrons, aka Machado, and Dan Davis obviously picked Bathurst. So these 2 tracks selected from the Wheel of Names, which gave us our grid order, our championship order as well for what the season would look like. And we love Laguna Seca. It's always been a brilliant circuit. It used to be called Spooky Laguna due to the few glitches that Laguna had on the Project Cars 2 days, with rear wings just dropping off out the pit lane and all sorts. But on this game, it is a tricky circuit. I'm joined in the commentary box once again by Dan Davis. Dan, it looked a good GT4 race out there last night. We're back for more of the Pro-Am action as well. It's going to be an interesting night around this fantastic circuit.
It should do indeed, Matt. Good evening all and welcome to SimPlay, and I hope you're well, Matthew, and I hope everyone else is well as well. We're back for some more dramatic action here at Spooky Laguna. Yes, the GT4s were fantastic as always. Nice, tight, close racing, and plenty of respect given as well. There was a couple of incidents, but nothing too major, and as looking through the tickets already, we seem to only have very little, if at all, any tickets been put in, so it's great to see as well. Great respect, and I love the way that the grid is improving as we go along. But yes, Matthew, we're here at California for Laguna Seca for the most one of the most iconic circuits in the United States of America. Probably most famously known just for just one corner. And that is obviously the very famous corkscrew. But nonetheless, it is a very challenging circuit. It's not the easiest to race, but we will see how all these Pro-Am and Pro Boys will get on this week.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race for sure. That is going to be the key here around this fantastic circuit. Like you say, one of the more famous ones around here. Obviously, the corkscrew, the biggest corner we have around this track. So this is going to be interesting to see who will do what this evening or this week around here. Two drivers that I look at the top of our most successful list on this Laguna Seca circuit, and there is a lot of names that are on this list because of such a long line of Project Cars 2 into the GT4s, into GT3s on ACC. Yourself and Ripper, 2 poles and 2 wins, top that list around here. It's a track you've always seemed to do pretty decent at. Not going to give too much away at the moment. But a lot of cars on that list, and that shows a lot of randomness, doesn't it, in race winners and pole sitters when we look at the most success in the history of SimPlay.
Yeah, the thing about this circuit is very challenging. Obviously, the way we run things here at SimPlay Motorsport, the reverse grid always makes it a great opportunity for new drivers to win. And this circuit definitely gives that. It's very tricky to overtake around here, if at all. You got to have some confidence, and I think as well you got to have the car advantage pace-wise to really get a job, be able to cut through the pack comfortably as well. But that's what offers Laguna Seca. You said it's myself and Ripper who are the only ones who've been multiple race winners here. Everyone else has had a variety of race wins, and it's difficult to get this right. Whatever car you seem to drive, it drives differently. From what I'm experiencing from the Lamborghini to the Lexus, it's a completely different challenge once again. But the circuit as well is very challenging. The grass / gravel, whatever it is incredibly slippery. It's probably the most challenging off-road physics probably on this game, because near enough every time I go wide, the car wants to spit out and go a completely different way. So you really have to be careful of that. With giant curbs, you want to push the limits as well. It's constantly changing in elevation. It's a real challenge, this circuit, even though it's probably one of the shortest on the calendar. Yeah, rightly so. And with it being one of the shortest on the calendar, we're in for a lot of laps this evening. Richie Michelle, though, your man we're currently on board with, fastest out there at the moment. He leads the championship standings from Robert Smith, 54 points clear. Robert Smith is tied with Dennis Hansen in P3. Obviously, after a couple of bad weeks for Robert Smith. Sam is P4. He's only 10 points behind them two. FPL boys have had a really good week recently. Can they keep that momentum going? Mirko Richie's not here tonight. He's currently P5 with Justin Winter in 6th. Old Sim Racer sits 73 points off the back in P7. John Gooday, good race 2 last week with a P2. He's up to P8 with Stephen Beck P9. Casper Ollin is P10 with Paul Williams round just outside in 11th place. He's just ahead of his Team FBR stable mate, Fat Bloke, who did a stream on Sunday, Fat Bloke, in their FBR channel, which kind of gives him a bit of prep going into this week's racing. And halfway through his stream, he put a Big Mac advert on his stream, an actual old McDonald's Big Mac advert, and at the end put the logos of SimPlay Motorsport and Design Manchester and Audio Sports. It was absolutely brilliant to see that in the middle of his stream. Kieran Argett's P13. He's actually carrying an injury tonight. Had a fall on the way to the train station to watch the football last night. So he's walking a little wounded out there, or driving a little wounded, I should say. Lando Norris is P14 just behind him. Darren Bell moving house. He's not here tonight. Then it's Gary Clarble, Player Man, with Brian Craig, Cranky Duckhead and Francisco rounding out the top 10. Monkey Boy, not having the start to a season that we know Monkey Boy is capable of. He's 21st ahead of Luke Saunders. Again, another man down that order just a little bit. DJ Phil is 23rd with the Jackal in 24th. Dean Vegas not here tonight, 25th. Rob Smith is P26th with Mark Tucker 27th.
Then it is Kane. We have lost John Andrews for the season. He might return towards the end. It just depends on how he has recovered. He had an operation on his back. He had an operation that was able to move forward. A slot opened up. He was able to take that for a surgery that he needed. So, John, we wish you all the best in your recovery from the operation. He has said he's coming back, but obviously it's a matter of his recovery. Shane Benbridge will be back in the new year. He's not fully recovered from 2 strokes previously in this year gone by, so he wants to just take a little break away from it and hopefully come back stronger in the new year. Still yet to see Romeo out on the circuit. Graham makes his debut tonight. He makes his first appearance tonight in the Bentley, and it'll be great to see the Bentley out there on track as I'm trying to pick a car up who is on a lap. Here we go. Leon Fernie still not yet to make an appearance. Lucas, I believe, is out there. Yes, he is. We see him. Rushton, obviously down, came in last week. He's new, but not here tonight. Yoshi drove 2 races last week. Now, I'm not sure if we've ever had this in SimPlay history. Done 2 races last week. Didn't respond to the stewards in tickets, which cost him 5 points. He's on -5 points in the championship. And then we have a brand new driver on the grid as well. And he is currently sat P12 at the moment. And that is that of Ramsell, who will obviously go from the back of the grid. Robert Ramsell there at the back of the pack. There you can see Lucas making his GT3 debut and Graham making his first start of the season. Team Richie Corsa lead the way, 82 points from Team Dane Train. Forever Forward RP3 with Team FB RP4. Stage 2 Motorsport from Roadrunner Bandits. Greasy Bandits Racing P7. Team Tom from Team Merlot. McLaren Racing. Then it's the Speedy Gonzalez Motorsport. Greasy Bandits Junior and the Naval Racing Team 2. Interesting little thing. I know we don't normally do manufacturer stuff because it's normally dominated by one car. Ginetta lead it. So we normally sit here and go, oh, McLaren, oh. Ginetta lead it. From Mercedes, from BMW, from Ferrari. Ferrari will obviously get a chance, obviously, having no cars in GT4s.
You've not put the GT4s in there as well, have you?
Yeah, I put the GT4s in there. Yeah, Ginetta lead it. Get on.
Wow.
Go, Ginetta.
At least Lexus is 9th, not at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few of them. Obviously, Richard Beasley, we hope to see Richard Beasley back. He's obviously struggling since all the Xbox problems last week. He's not been able to get his Xbox account back, so it's really buggered him.
Yeah, it's only now myself and Harris now who are left in the Lexuses, but Alpine are ahead of us, annoyingly. But Aston Martin with the extra Aston Martins in GT4 help him out as well. But Porsche with all the Caymans as well. Yeah, but Mercedes and Ginetta going toe for toe with BMW there as well. Do you know what? It's actually a closer. Where is McLaren?
McLaren are 7th. They've won 3 out of the 4 since we've done this. They won 3 out of 4. Manufacturers in their 7th.
Bentley are now going to score. The only thing that won't have scored is Nissan,
Audi,
Retia, Audi, and
Jaguar.
KTM and Jaguar.
Yeah, and Maserati.
I wish I'd done GT4 in a Maserati. Could you imagine?
Either way, I did that, and I looked at it today when I loaded the tables. I thought Ginetta are 174 points clear of Mercedes. Righto. Brilliant. Well done, Gary and O'Reilly and everybody else who's driving a Ginetta.
Brilliantly done. Do you feel a little bit like you're betraying them?
Yeah, a little bit. Look, I saw O'Reilly drive off in the distance last night, and I was like, oh, yeah, it was good at Laguna last season, wasn't it? It would have won a race if someone didn't run out of fuel. No, hey,
indeed.
Hey, look, we're looking for a good season. Right, we can run you through the grid order as well. Let's get that open to you now. The WeatherTech Laguna Seca, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca here for round 7 and 8 of the Pro-Am season. And it is Lucas on pole. No Leon Fernie, it will be Graham there on that front row of the grid, which hasn't, I don't think John has updated it fully because he's not even got Graham on there. I think he's meant to have put Graham. Either way, Mark Tucker, Rob Smith, DJ Phil from Luke Saunders. We've then got Monkey Boy from Francisco. Cranky Duckhead from Brian Craig. Playerman from Gary Clauble. Lando Norris from the fat bloke himself. Paul Williams from Casper Olin. Stephen Beck from John Good. A good row that is. 2 drivers on a bit of form at the minute. Old Sim Racer Justin Winter and All Ferrari row. Excuse me, towards the back of the grid. Sam from Dennis Hansen. And then we've got Robert Smith from Richie Michelle. And Ramsell from Argent. Going to be an interesting An interesting night here in the grid order.
Ramsell hasn't made the start.
Has he not? Oh no, he hasn't. He has missed the start, so that is a shame for him. So he will hopefully go from the pit lane. Who's your money on, Dan?
I want to say Sutty.
Yeah.
Or Graham. But I'm not, after the discussion we briefly had, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go Luke Saunders.
Luke Saunders, that's a good shout. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go Luke Saunders. No, I'm going to go Monkey Boy. Let's see what he can do then. But for the first time this evening, we are green and go here at Laguna Seca, and it's a decent start on the front row from Lucas, and not that of the Bentley of Graham, who's looking around the outside already towards turn one. Can he get anything done? This contact of DJ Phil in the background. I believe that's Monkey Boy who's tapped him round and off, and he's caught up, I believe, there with John Gooday, it looked to be, as there is Kane defending from the inside line. That's one of the FBR cars that had to take to the pit exit line in avoidance of DJ Phil, and already Kane managing to hold off Mark Tucker, just dropping down the order a little bit. Francisco already climbed above Lucas and that of Rob Smith, and now Luke Saunders, he's going to get through on Rob Smith as well, dropping further down the pack. Player man side by side with Justin Winter, and that is Dennis Hansen off and into the wall. Contact side by side with, I believe, Steve Beck, and into the wall he goes, and there goes Richie Michelle tapping Rob Smith round.
Not the start of the race you want so far. A lot of drivers getting caught up with silly little incidences already here at Laguna Seca as they now make their way up towards the corkscrew, and Lucas still defending heavily from Kane. Kane sending it up the inside. Where's Graham? Graham's gone way off at the top of the corkscrew. Yeah,
I think he's got his braking horribly wrong there. He's gone right off, and that race we're in has been put to bed. There's other cars off at the bottom. Luke Saunders has been caught up in that, and multiple cars caught up in the incident there with Luke Saunders. One of them was on two wheels just a moment ago, and there is all sorts of damage down the pack here, Dan. Richie Michelle caught up in that as well as a few others. Monkey Boy, we know, had an earlier incident, but a lot of cars off, and this has all possibly helped Dennis Hansen and Robert Smith, and maybe even Robert, as I pressed the wrong button there, maybe even Robert Ramsell as well.
After all this, Gomez now leads this race from Kane, from Brian Craig, from Goudet, from Cranky Dughead, from Klarbel, Winter, Olin, Beck and Fat Bloke, but Richie Michelle is trying to work his way through the order, but a lot of damage to a lot of cars after an incredibly clean GT4 last night. We've got an incredibly messy Pro-Am so far.
Absolute chaos in this race at the moment. Playerman and Luke Saunders are in the pits. Looks like Luke Saunders has returned to the pit lane. That is going to massively hurt them in this race, because they know that they are going to have to come back round and pit once again. So up through...
Sorry, Justin Winter doing his usual thing, hanging the Ferrari sideways, nearly dropped it, but he somehow kept it together, and he's still sideways through most corners as the Cranky Duckhead's under immense pressure right now from Casper Olin and Steve, and just four cars up his backside, and Casper Olin up the inside. Klarbel goes around the inside, gets through, now goes through Winter. Steve Beck's looking to the outside as well. He manages to sweep round, and Fat Bloke, who was race one, he just dropped the rear.
Lost the rear coming through the left-hander coming out the corkscrew there. He'll have to try and rejoin as safe as possible. Stays to the outside line, but Cranky Duckhead just got swamped by 4 or 5 cars. And look at them all, they're all still going for it. Look, Steve Beck is still trying to put pressure on that of Gary Klarbel, and then Justin Winters there as well. Demolition Derby in Laguna Seca, says L7 in the chat, and indeed it was at the start of this race. Here comes Stephen Beck looking up the inside. Here goes Gary Klarbel looking around the outside, but a day late, dollar short, and he's possibly going to lose out to the Cranky Duckhead and maybe Richie Michelle as they come together as Klarbel tries to rejoin.
He does indeed, and he's going to try and stay on the inside of Richie Michelle, try and get the run, but he doesn't quite do so. Now there's a lot of cars with a lot of damage, but all this is doing is allowing Gomez, his gap to the rest of the pack is 7.4 seconds. That's how much of a break he has had. These guys are all heading through this tight, twisty section, while he's up towards the corkscrew.
He is up towards the corkscrew. Difference between Pro and Pro-Am is about 2 seconds around here. We're noting at the minute Pro looking in the 22s, Pro-Am looking in the 24s, high 23s. But like you say, Gomez has gone. Kane made a mistake coming out of turn 4. That's allowed Brian Craig and John Gooday to get through, and Casper Olin. John Gooday right on the rear now of Brian Craig in this early stage of this race. This is looking on board John Gooday then, who is coming down the hill. He's giving a cheeky flash of the lights. as he comes through on the back of Brian Craig. Pit the window will open in about 10 seconds time. There's another flash of lights. He doesn't want to get too greedy on that flash button. Tries to maybe tuck underneath and use the grunt of the Mercedes out the corner. John, however, he got that second place last week at Kyle Army in race 2. He's up for more podiums. Justin Winters on the back of Casper Ollin, so he's also got past Kane. He's now been swamped by cars. Richie Michel's got even more damage, and the old sim racers come to play.
Well, Richie Michel was on the back of the Cranky Darkhead, was looking to make a move, but think better of it, and then just got mugged by Clarball, and then Old Sim Racer just followed him through. So Richie Michel, no real actual more damage, as Kane's just dropped the rear and into the wall he goes, but Richie Michel didn't actually gain more damage, he just got mugged in the final corner.
Fair enough. Yes, L7 Pro is the highest level, and if you want to see the Pro action, you can join us tomorrow night at the same time for the Pro broadcast, where Dan will be out there on the track. Gary Clarball back up the inside of Cranky Duckhead. He's got that move done once again, just dropping down the order.
Justin Winters had a big moment after setting fast up at the wrist, and Steve Beck's gone wide as well. They're all struggling with the left-hand kink by the list of things.
And the kink is, from what I was listening to on a Pro Sim Team's channel the other day, Apex Racing, they're saying that the kink at a race at Laguna Seca now, yes, that's iRacing over ACC, but they're saying the kink is the hardest corner on this track to get right because of the blind apex. It is the hardest corner, and that's where they just both ran wide. You saw a few incidents here last night. John Gooday wasting little time then to come straight into the pit lane, as is Steve Beck, as is the old sim racer Richie Michel. This is probably a wise strategy for a few of these with damage. Get in, get done, get out.
Yeah, but obviously you do not, in this short sprint feature race, you do not want to be repairing the damage, really. You kind of just want to get on with it. John Goudet hasn't repaired the damage, as was a correct thing to do there. You want to gain the advantage. You want to be in, out, and gone instantly. And Richie Michel has done that, so he's gone green. Old Sim Racer hasn't, though. He's ended up staying there, so he possibly forgot to change the tyres, turn the tyres off. And a lot of these cars will do that. Graham, I think, his life forgot to turn the tyre. No, he's gone green. So once again, Old Sim Racer's made a mistake in the pit lane. That's another time he's done that. He
is indeed. Sam looks like he's got heavy damage. That is him repairing. Did Richie Michel? No, he didn't. Steve Beck looks like he's got minimal. So it's going to be John Gooday, who's the lead driver out the pits, and let's see what he can do. Obviously, Francisco Gomez is well in front at the moment, so he is pretty clear. 10 seconds his gap down while everybody's been fussing and fighting. This man has just put in the laps he's needed to do and got on with it.
He has indeed, and sometimes that's what you need to do. Just put your foot down and go. That's the kind of goal that you need to do.
Apologies, L7's racing tomorrow night. There we go then.
There we are then. Look forward to racing you on track, as I believe Brian Craig has now come into the pit lane. That's going to release Casper Ollin. Now, wherever John Goudet is, it's the 77. That is Luke Saunders. He's got a
and the 96. That's Sam.
That's Sam. John Goudet, wherever he is, he's obviously, has he got clean air? Relatively clean air. He might have had to pass Kane, but either way, if that's held him up ever so slightly, I think that Casper Ollin now with free air in front of him and Justin Winter, he's going to be under some pressure.
Gary Clarball's just gone off. He had a hip and shoulder with Lando Norris, and Gary Clarball is off the circuit looking to rejoin and gets it back going now. It sounds like he had stalled the car, but Lando Norris has now been overtaken by the Cranky Duckhead. Cranky Duckhead is in the thick of these fights tonight. Monkey Boy still out there as well. We had Paul Williams, Argent, Robert Ramsell, Lucas, DJ Phil and Kane all into the pits this lap. Playerman still got a repit. Luke Saunders and Sam with them stop-go penalties to their name. But at the minute, the Cranky Duckhead is the man who's in the thick of the fights.
He is indeed, and in that Honda seems to be really struggling, to be fair. That's why he's in the thick of it. And we have got Lando Norris, obviously, just so that everyone who is new to the channel, this isn't the actual Lando Norris, as you'd expect him to possibly be in pro. But yeah, he's really starting to pressurise the Honda driver as they head up towards the corkscrew. Very easy to miss your brakes, but Cranky has done that, and so has Lando. He's got on the power and he's just speared left. Clearly used to racing at Kota and not at Laguna.
Yeah. You can't overtake off the white line. Just remember that one, Lando Norris. As Monkey Boy comes down, he's now defending from Dennis Hansen after being released by them two. Monkey Boy goes a little wide on exit. He's going to defend that inside line. Fat Bloke is going to stay out as well, as into the pits comes and that of the Cranky Duckheads. John Gooday jumped Brian Craig in the pit stand, so the undercut worked for John Gooday last night.
It does indeed, as Casper Ollin is gone green. Where is John Goudet? He's into the final corner now. So, yeah, Casper Olin at the minute is about to be released, as will Justin, not quite Justin Winter. So John Goudet has been jumped by Casper Olin, as Justin Winter has now been released. So he's lost time in the pit, so I think he's possibly repaired. So no, he's not repaired his damage either, so maybe just a bad stop. But Casper Olin has got the jump on him.
Yeah, there he is. Maybe Casper Olin putting that better out lap, them 2 laps extra. Maybe done for Casper Olin there. He comes out ahead of John Goudet in this race. Justin Winter side by side with Brian Craig. He loses out to Brian Craig there, though. Dropping down to Kieran Argent, obviously walking wounded tonight. He's on the back of Paul Williams, looking for a good result here in this race. Mark Tucker still to pit down in 17th. Stop goes done for Luke Saunders and for Sam as we are halfway through this first race. The top 6 and Mark Tucker still to pit, and this is going to be an interesting one as we go through this.
Fat Bloke's had a moment. Fat Bloke's had a moment at the kink. He's coming up towards the corkscrew. He looks like he's just caught the kink, and he's just dropping down the order after a fantastic Kyle Army. He's now just dropping backwards down the order. I thought the BMWs would be quite strong. Obviously Gomez definitely looking strong, but he looks like the only car that doesn't look to have any damage.
Yeah, he's been the only one that's kind of kept out of trouble, hasn't he, in this race?
He has indeed. Pretty much every single car I go on board with has got some form of damage, one way or another. But Casper Olin is the leading pitter at the minute, and Justin Winter trying to get onto his boss just ahead of John Goudet. But yeah, a lot of work for a lot of these guys to do, and a lot of thinking as well, because obviously they've been testing with the hotter conditions for GT4s, but now the cooler conditions have come. It's probably caught them out a little bit.
The 52's at the moment. I can see the yellow flag for the 52. That is Kieran Argent. That is at the final corner, and it looks like he's got a bit of damage too. He's had a moment there. Gary Clarbel and Mark Tucker in the pits then. So the top 4 yet to pit. Was just watching that Monkey Boy battle with Dennis Hansen. Dennis Hansen's got away. Fat Bloke's now got a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So what a shame for him then. As we drop down to Stephen Beck now. He's on the back of Richie Michelle. Richie Michelle, let's not forget.
Clarbel's pitted, but he didn't do the 1 litre.
So he's going to have to come back in. Did he repair the damage on his car, Dan? We're currently watching the fight. Can you tell us if he's repaired the damage on that car?
Will do. I don't think he has. The rear wing looks a bit scuffed, but I don't think he has. He's come out in front of Graham, but no, he has not repaired the damage.
Well, that's going to have to be a pit stop for him. We're watching this fight between Brian Craig, Richie Michelle, and that then of Stephen Beck at the moment. Richie Michelle carrying that bit of damage. He's not having it his own way. We saw him have a decent first race at Kyle Army, but this is the problem with the reverse grids, as he's going to start to find out on these trickier, tighter circuits. It is just harder to get through the pack, and he's found that one out tonight. He'll definitely feel it at Alton Park come the penultimate race weekend if he's still leading the championship. At that point then, we're halfway through this race. It is lap 8 we have started. Gomez, Dennis Hansen, Lando Norris as Monkey Boy completes his pit stop. He's maybe looking for that undercut on Dennis Hansen. Gary Clarbel still to pit. Fat Bloke has that stop-go penalty, and Robert Smith in the pits as well. Robert Smith's just gone from bad to worse, hasn't he, after that opening week? Great opening week at Bathurst, and it just hasn't clicked for him since then.
No, it hasn't clicked, but hopefully some more races that'll come his way will suit him better.
Gomez pits from the lead. He had a 26-second lead over Dennis Hansen. He has now came into the pits, and I haven't actually loaded my graphic up at the moment, so let's get that one loaded so that we can see what the pit stop times are actually kind of estimated at.
It's a long stop
for Laguna
Gomez,
Seca.
to be fair.
1 litre of fuel is only 29 seconds. It's again a 27-second change between that and a tyre change.
He's got the gap.
But yeah, so 27 seconds. He should come out P2. He is P2 now, but he's having a longer stop than normal.
Yeah, maybe he's just ran a little bit lighter, possibly on fuel, just because he possibly feels comfortable with that lighter fuel. Who knows? But either way, he's out comfortably as Casper Olin only now crosses the start-finish line. He's now heading towards the exit of the pit lane, so he seems relatively comfortable. It's just Dennis Hansen left to pit. He's cutting that fine, to be fair. He has a mistake, he's in trouble. Gary
Clarbel still to pit as well. I noticed it. Gary's lost out to Sutty.
Richie Michelle goes side by side with Brian Craig, sends up the inside, and Steve Beck goes and optimistic as always, goes up the inside, gets the job done, follows the Lamborghini through. So Richie Michelle has slowly been working his way through the order, But I think that's about as far as he's going to get. He's not going to catch Justin Winter before the end, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we've been watching this fight for a little bit. I think he's under more pressure from Steve Beck behind. Robert Ramsell on his debut, trying to catch up with Paul Williams, who's getting stronger each week. Kieran Argent is on the back of Monkey Boy. That's trying to be for position. Graham, look, having a look around the outside of DJ Phil Green. He's got Rob Smith behind him. Gary Clarble still did not pit, so that'll be a huge penalty to his name in this race for the lack of pit stop. Oh, sorry, for not pitting and not putting that 1 litre of fuel in. But Graham at the moment, he's got DJ Phil, who is trying to back on the pad. It looks like DJ Phil. You just see the car twitching all over the place. Runs wide onto the grass. And to tell you what, Rob Smith has just drove around the outside of Graham. I didn't even think he was looking for a move, but he's gone right around the outside of Graham, and he's now going to head after DJ Phil. This is looking back from Rob Smith then on that twitchy Bentley. The first time we're getting to see the tank out on circuit. And this is in the hands of a guy who loves a loose car and loves a send-it manoeuvre, but this just looks a little too loose for him tonight.
It does indeed, and again, probably all that testing in the hotter conditions have affected him in these cooler conditions here. But either way, it's still quite warm, the track. It's 25 degrees, so it's still quite hot. We do have a little bit of sun peeking through, but yeah, it's been... I'll tell you what, who's already impressed me, from pit lane to 10th, Robert has had a fantastic start to this one. Sometimes it shows that starting from the pit lane ain't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, just a bit of patience as well, wasn't it? You know, just to get through the pack and not really... His car looks pretty clean. So he must have had a good pit stop as well. He's on the back of Paul Williams, who's an experienced driver. That was one of the FBR boys in the wall there, down the order anyway. So not the night for Team FBR tonight, but Robert Ramsell here really wanting to put some pressure on the back of Paul Williams. To try and get this done. We're into the final 4 minutes of this race, and Gomez leads by 4 seconds over Casper Olin. So that long stop has kind of brought Casper Olin into play, but Gomez has had too much pace, really, I think, to really worry about that.
Yeah, he's been relatively comfortable out in front. He hasn't had to worry about anything. He's not stressed about anything. He's stayed out in front, and he's got everything under control, which is all we needed to do.
It is all he needed to do. Brian Craig, though, trying to come back at Stephen Beck. No, he's not. So Stephen Beck's actually dropped behind him and Dennis Hansen. So not sure what's happened.
Looks like he's had a mistake somewhere. Yeah. If anything, it's Justin Winter coming back at John Goudet for 3rd place to get onto the last place on the podium.
Teammates last season won the Constructors' Championship together, I do believe. And
they did.
Oh, Justin loved, like you say, loves a loose car, but that is not going to help you in terms of catching, like Dan said a moment ago, his boss. And for John Goudet at the moment, he's on for back-to-back podiums, which isn't too bad at this stage of the season. It's points that he's picking up. Steve Beck right on the rear of Dennis Hansen again. In fact, he's having a look for a move up in towards turn 5. Is he going to get it done? No, thinks better of it. Just behind them is the battle of Paul Williams and Robert Ramsell. Argent's trying to chase down Monkey Boy, but Argent's got damage, so he's probably not going to get him. DJ Phil, just taps Gary Clarble there, as Clarble's lost out to DJ Phil and to Playerman, and Sutty somehow lost it nearly in a straight line, so Playerman's off. It's all happening at the back of this pack.
It is indeed, and I think Spooky Laguna is continuing its traits here. It's caused absolute chaos once again. Laguna is definitely a circuit that's very difficult to race on.
Brings a lot of entertainment though. Sutty down behind DJ Phil. He'll want to make up that place. So you got a feeling for Gary Clarble. He's probably going to lose out to Lucas and Mark Tucker due to that penalty coming his way at the end. Robert Smith also never completed his pit stop. He's way down the order. He's had a terrible time of it tonight. But so far so good. Here comes Stephen Beck looking up the inside of Dennis Hansen. Through he goes on Hansen. Goes a little too deep though, and Hansen's going to get that up and under. Back through he comes, nice and easy.
It's very easy to do that. Just lock up the brakes and just overshoot turn 1. And Steve Beck did it just there. He had the confidence to go in there, but he just missed his timing on the brakes. And as these guys keep squabbling, Paul Williams and Robert are just working their way bit by bit to the back of him. They might run out of time though, as it looks like Dennis Hansen had to go defensive once again from Steve Beck, who's looking for any opportunity to get past, any mistake, and he'll find a way through.
Taking the pressure a little bit off of Brian Craig as well, Dan.
Yeah, Brian Craig can just eke out a little bit more of a gap, and Richie Michelle, to be fair, hasn't disappeared into the distance. He's only a couple of seconds up the road. So Richie Michelle make another mistake or another trip over someone, you end up in this squabble again. But Dennis Hansen, it just after last season, he looked very competitive. He looked like he was going to be a real threat for the title. And just this season, he's just been caught up in so many instances.
Hit and miss, hasn't he? He's got pace, but he's just, like you say, just having them mistakes and having them errors himself have just cost him at times.
Just had a bit of bad luck already.
Graham's finally
John
got...
Goudet has brought the gap down to Casper Olin ever so slightly as well. He's starting to creep onto him, but he's going to run out of time at that stage. But Gomez, what a drive from him. From
great start
from turn one. He goes on to win, well, I'm going to say possibly, because it's not done yet, the sprint race.
Great start to the race. John Goudet just took another 3/10 out of Casper Olin at the final sector. Is Casper running light on fuel here? As NRT Sammy's in the chat saying, let's go Gomez. Indeed, let's go, because he's had a great race at the moment. There is Casper Olin. There is John Goudet. We are running out of time. And we are running out of that track and road for him to get a race, to get an extra... Oh, excuse me, got the hiccups tonight. Running out of road for him to make up another place. 1.8 the gap. I think Casper Olin's running very close to being out of fuel here, but take nothing away from this man. Francisco, it's going to be another new race winner at SimPlay Motorsport. He's going to round the final corner now and has his run to the line. He is going to win round 7 of the season. Francisco takes the race win. What a drive from the young man. Great stuff from him. Casper Olin looks like he's going to hang on there for P2. I think he was running out of fuel at the end. John Goudet will bring it home for P3 from Justin Winter 4th. Richie Michel is going to be P5. So a huge result for him. Justin Winter as well with that fastest lap. P5, it's good points for Richie Michel. 6th place could go the way of anybody. It is going to go the way of Brian Craig. Stephen Beck for 7th. Dennis Hansen 8th. Paul Williams 9th. Robert Ramsell, great first race in 10th. Lando Norris 11th. We've got Mark Tucker and Old Sim Racer and Robert Smith have finished down the order. Cranky Duckhead, that is not for position between the two McDonald's. Fat bloke Team FBR cars. Cranky Duckhead then is going to get a P12. What an action-packed race Cranky Duckhead has had here. He's been caught up in all the drama. Monkey Boy is going to hang in for 13th place over Kieran Argent. Rob Smith caught them two at the end. Another couple of laps and he'd have had them. Here comes Graham then for a 16th place. With Gary Clarbell 17th, but with that penalty to his name, he's not going to stay there. DJ Phil to the line. Lucas to the line. Playerman's giving it a flash of the lights as well, and we just are awaiting Kane to come out that final corner. But Dan, what a dramatic start to this race.
What a dramatic start indeed, but it has gone the way of Gomez, who wins the race, and well done from him. Justin Winter taking fastest lap as well, but yeah, Laguna once again causes drama and chaos, and it's probably going to continue for the rest of the week, I reckon.
Yeah, let's wait and see what will happen. We will take, though, a very, very quick break. Stick around, and we'll be back in a few moments' time. And we're clear. Steve Beck 7th, Fat Bloke 23rd, Sam 22nd, Rob Smith 15th, Old Sim Racer 21st, Argent 14th, Robert Smith 27th, Monkey Boy 13th, Romeo didn't do the first race again.
Green light, go, go, go.
Dennis Hansen 8th. Luke Saunders 26th. Graham 16th. Cranky 12th. Clarbell 19th. Lando 11th. Kane 25th. Playerman 24th. Lucas 18th. Ramsell 10th. Final. Right, back in a sec.
Mm-hmm. Why does a penguin make pancakes?
I don't know.
Sorry, how does a penguin make pancakes?
Still don't know.
With its flippers.
Huh. You got a penguin bar done?
Yeah. What's a penguin's favourite pasta?
Don't know.
A penguini. What do you call a penguin with no eye?
I don't know.
A pengun. What do you call 500 penguins in Trafalgar Square?
Lost?
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Why was the penguin's head cold?
I don't know.
Because he was wearing an ice cap. How did the penguin get to work? On an icicle.
Green light. Go, go, go.
On an icicle.
DJ's bought a ticket in on Monkey Boy. 95, first car out on track. No, 96. Okay. 5, 4. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport after a fantastic opening race of the evening. It was a real great race. If you're Francisco, who took his first ever race win here on the SimPlay Motorsport channel, well done to him for that. Richie Michel, though, extends his championship lead now to 63 points to that of Justin Winter, who is in second place. He moves up the ladders just a little bit. We then jump to... As we just could get the right camera angle. We then jump to Dennis Hansen, who stays P3. He's only a point behind Justin Winter. John Gooday moves up to P4 with Casper All in P5. Rob Smith, who put in the Discord that the weather's been fine all day, so I wonder if he's had connection issues. That's why he was so many laps down. Sam is P7 from Stephen Beck. Old Sim Racers P9. Mirko Ritchie drops to 10th. P. Williams is 11th with Francisco. 12th. Great result for him, catapulting him up the championship. Kieran Argent 13th from Fat Bloke. Lando Norris, Brian Craig, Gary Clarbell, Darren Bell down the order to 18th place, obviously not being here tonight. Cranky Duckhead, Monkey Boy, Playerman, DJ Phil, Luke Saunders, Rob Smith, Mark Tucker, the Jackal, who's in for race 2 as always, Dean Vargas from Kane, Ramsell straight on to 22 points, great start to his campaign. Then it is Graham Lucas, Romeo Fernie, Rushton still not scored, and Yoshi on -5. Constructors, the Team Dane train have gained on Team Richie Corson. Gap is 42 points there. Stage 2 Motorsport up into 3rd place, just ahead of Forever Forward Racing. Team FBR are in 5th with Greasy Bandits ahead of Roadrunner Bandits now. Team Tom, Team Merlot, Naval Racing Team 2 ahead of McLaren Racing, Speedy Gonzalez and the Greasy Bandits Junior. Obviously all results are provisional going into tonight, as they will be checked with the stewarding at the end of the night to see whether they are all above board. One other little stat I had for you, Dan, or little fact I had for you, is I have, the last week, compared an Xbox versus PlayStation. So for all the Xbox users and all the PlayStation users, Xbox is beating the PlayStation users. So us PS boys need to get our finger out and start to kick their ass. It's pointless, it won't be posted on social medias, it's just a little thing that I like to do. I'm just a bit of a geek like that.
You and your stats.
Love them.
Go stat crazy.
I do love a good stat. Want another stat? This race will be Cranky Duckhead's 50th.
Fabulous. Like, I don't know how you find the time to do this. I really don't. You're such a busy man, you know, and yet you find out all of our statistics. It's absolutely fascinating.
Well, it will be when it's your 300th race in race 1 tomorrow.
Oh.
There you go.
300 races.
300 races and 9 championships later, eh?
Obviously, in different categories. I keep saying that he's 9 times champ, and everyone hears it on ACC. Let's not forget that is a variety of categories, and a lot of it was on project cars. So let's be honest.
F2 project cars, you won a handful. ACC.
Won 3 titles on project cars in the Porsche.
In the GT3.
The Porsche twice, McLaren once.
GT5.
GT4. Yeah, Ginetta GT5s, which you still, to this day, hate losing to. The F2s, so there's 5
There's
there.
5, yeah.
GTEs, that's 6.
GT6,
so actually,
and then you've
already won ACC 3 times.
3 on ACC. Well, you struggled on ACC to start with, didn't you? It actually took you a while to get going on ACC, didn't it?
The first 2 seasons, I struggled to get a race win, let alone a championship. But I blame the Lamborghini Huracan, the old one.
I would have, yes, especially as older. Just got to point out, you brought out GT5s, you brought up GT5s.
Okay, just don't forget Oscherslaben.
Back to tonight's racing though, Dennis Hansen. Dennis Hansen's currently just took the provisional pole time as we look to pick up car 31 of the man who's making his 50th race start here, as he comes out the final corner now, and he's going to try and improve on that 2.2 seconds, and does. Moves up to P13 with that lap time. Car 53's come to line. That is DJ Phil. Kane yet to put a qualifying lap. I believe he's the one who dropped out the lobby momentarily and has just got back in, so that's great to see. But yeah, no, interesting night as DJ Phil goes 19th place. Car 4 is next, that's Lando Norris. Interesting night, and really a mixed kind of field there, Dan, because I don't think we saw the front runners have a strong race, bar John Gooday and Justin Winter.
Yeah, I mean, Richie Michel still had a good run. He managed to get himself at least in the top 8. But that's the beauty of the sprint race. It's meant to deliver dramatic racing. It's meant to give new drivers an opportunity, which it did. And it also shows who's patient and who can work their way through the pack. I mean, it's all well and good starting on pole position and winning races all the time, but for me, what a true racer is somebody who can work their way through the gap and work their way actually in a racing scenario, not just take it from pole and do hot laps.
My, look at Graham! He's just gone P3, a 10th off of Dennis Hansen. Hello, the Bentleys maybe made a few tweaks and come to play in this second race.
Yeah, it's gone incredibly deep in turn 1, so next lap is probably out the window, but Graham finding some pace. We're still waiting for Richie Michel to put down a decent lap time on the board. I know he's been creeping at the door of a 22, but with it being a bit more overcast, we'll see if he can get near that.
John Gooday to the line, currently P4, works his way and knocks Graham off his top 3 perch and pushes him down 1 spot there. Let's try and pick up car number 4, that of Lando Norris, who's currently P9 on circuit at the moment then, as we are going through this window where drivers will just be in that zone of, do they go back in and put another fresh set of tyres on? Lando Norris now to the top of the timing screens with a 23.5. That is a heck of a lap time from the young man.
It is indeed, as Casper Olin now comes to the line, gets within a 10th of him as well. So the times are coming down and getting quicker, as now Robert Smith goes into 4th place, as John Gooday is now on a lap as well. He's only 2 tenths off, more like 3 tenths off, but Graham dropping down the order now as he's back into the pits. Richie Michel, though, on the back foot as it stands, 9th at the minute, as another car improves. Steve Beck goes to 5th now. It is close at the top.
It is very close.
Dennis Hansen now goes fastest.
Wow, by half a tenth. We saw in Pro how close it was. Here comes Luke Saunders on a lap. Is he going to improve? He's 5 tenths off the pole. What can he do here as he comes to line? Moves up to P7. Within 3 tenths now is the top 8, Dan. This is incredibly tight between all 3 of them. Here comes John Gooday on a lap at the moment. Is he going to put an improvement in? He goes to the top of the timing screens. A 23.4, and he is a 10th ahead of, 400ths ahead of Dennis Hansen. Now it's Richie Michel to the top.
Lap times are improving. People are getting faster and more confident. Who's next on that? As Casper Olin is on a lap at the minute. He's into the final sector now. and really pushing the McLaren. Can he find a little bit more time? He's currently 3 tenths off the pole at the minute, but that would give him enough to start on the front row. But he comes to the line now. Any improvement? Slight improvement, but no position change.
Justin Winters now to the line. What does he do? No improvement for him. The 63 is now coming up towards the line, and the 63 is that then of old Sim Racer. He's currently just over a second off. He doesn't find any more time.
Steve Beck coming now to the line. He's currently on a lap, flashing the Jackal to get out of his way, and he does improve. He goes to P4.
Paul Williams next up, his teammate. He's coming out of the final corner now. 1.2 off provisional pole. What is his lap time going to be? He now moves within a second. He goes up to the top 10. Dan, we said it in Pro last week, myself and Phil, how incredibly tight the top 20 of you guys was. It is a similar thing out there tonight, isn't it? It is so close between everybody.
It is very close, as Richie Michel also back into the final corner as well. Can he extend his gap? While everyone else has been improving and changing positions, he stayed firm on the top. Has he found more time? No.
Robert Ramsell to the line. He also doesn't find an improvement. The 53 of DJ Phil, 3 seconds off the pace at the moment, to the line. Finds 9 tenths of a second, knocks Jackal down a place. Next up will be Kieran Argent, yet set a lap time at the moment. Rounds the final corner now. Good evening to Peaceful Stepdad in the chat. And what can Kieran Argent do as he comes towards the line then? The 204's behind him on a valid lap. Kieran Argent goes 25th at the moment.
You know, we're not seeing many improvements at this stage now. Listen, like people are hitting on the wall. The thing with Laguna Seca I found as well, Matt, this circuit, when you kind of... This circuit for me is definitely a circuit you hit the wall much sooner and quicker. Yeah. Like, it's very difficult to find improvements. You literally have to be inch perfect throughout the rest of your lap.
You do, and it can all be lost in one corner. So much time. I noticed last night in the GT4 that when you lose a lot of time in one corner, that is it. You're not really finding it back in elsewhere. Paul Williams to the line. He doesn't improve as well. Maybe driver's going to put a fresh set of boots on for one last push. John Gooday on the front row. What a qualifier for this man at the moment. I'm sure he'd take a P2 so far. He comes towards the line in his Mercedes AMG. Down he comes now. Across it goes Paul! 2 tenths of a second, John Gooday.
He does take pole position, but here comes Richie Michel now to the line. 2 tenths he needs to find. And he does not find it. He's hanging in there. No far, he's in the top 10. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow, says Skunky in the chat. Fury's granddad, good evening all and good luck to everyone. So now Richie Michel is on the back foot. He's, as we see, Goudet put in a stonker of a lap time.
Fat bloke goes into 25th. That's his opening lap time. The 204's round in the final corner. That then is Justin Winter, who's now down in 11th, 9 tenths off the pole. Here he comes towards the line. Any improvement? It's a Bandits 1-2. It's Greasy Bandits and Roadrunner Bandits, but Justin Winter puts it on the front row. Good evening to Peaceful Explosion as well, as Justin Winter's going to return to the pits. Here comes Graham in that big Bentley out the final corner. What can he do to find an improvement? Just over 7 tenths off the provisional pole. Can he find a couple more in him? Not this time around. No, he can't. Luke Saunders will also be coming towards the line, as well as another car. That's the 180 of Paul Williams. Watch out for him changing. Nothing from him, so just Luke Saunders now that we can see. 2 minutes 40 left. He's on a lap to the line. He goes 5th, Dan. Top 5, 2 tenths of a second.
John Goudet exiting the final corner now as well. Can he extend his gap? Can he get himself in the 22s? No improvement, but he will get another lap on the board here as they're all starting to get quicker. Richie Michel to the line, 2 tenths off.
Whoa!
He gets within half a tenth.
It is incredibly close out there. What a lap time from Richie Michel. He's just got to find the minimal amount of time in this lap to try and put it on provisional pole. Kane hasn't set one. Lucas to the line. He goes quicker than Kieran Argent, who I believe is about to know. He's not about to set one. That is the 555 of Fat Bloke to the line. He goes up to P18. The 133 will be next. That then is Casper Ollin. He's only 2 tenths off. No improvement for him. He can't find any there.
You can't indeed. I think Justin Winter is done. He ain't coming back out. He is going to be starting at least 3rd position. He won't go any quicker than that now. But I'm on board with Steve Beck, who's been having a decent run in the BMW. He now has a good exit out of the final corner. Can he improve? 3 tenths off at the minute?
No.
No.
Going to watch Paul Williams. He's down in 12th place. There is a car in front of him. That is the 999 of the Jackal. Didn't see the Jackal pop up on the timing screens. Here comes Paul Williams, moves up to the top 10. 5:01 is next. That then is Robert Ramsell. So John's done. John has bailed. Robert Ramsell, he'd have got one more lap in unless he's out of fuel. Robert Ramsell moves up into P15. The 117's now coming to the line.
Robert Smith, any improvement? He's had a decent run out of the final corner. Yes, he gets within 4/10, but only bricks him up a little place higher than Lando Norris.
280 next to the line. That is down the order. That then is Lucas, who exits the final corner. Then it'll be the 133. As here comes Lucas towards the line. And does he improve on 26? He does. Climbs all the way up to 17th. So a good lap time there. The 133, Casper Ollin, will get one more lap in here, Dan. And this is crucial. Richie Michel's on his final run. So he cannot make a mistake. Here comes Casper Ollin to the line. Doesn't improve. He's got one chance left to do it. Kieran Argent's now coming towards the line. 3.4 down. Obviously fell over last night. Injured the old leg. And doesn't find anything there. 31. That is the Honda of the Cranky Duckhead, qualifying for his 50th race start here at SimPlay Motorsport. I believe Cranky was cranking in the PS5, small PS5 series we did at the back end of last year. I believe he was, wasn't he? Yes, that was his debut then, so it's a year he's done 50 races. The 999 of the Jackal, first to finish qualifying, and he'll qualify down in 26th place. A couple of cars are done. Next man to cross the line, Dan, Richie Michel. Let's go on board him, because he has got to be on it at the end of this lap. Cannot afford a mistake.
No, he cannot. He can't touch a curb. He can't afford any mistake here till the end. He needs to get into that 22 if he wants to beat John Goudet here, which he's put down an absolute stonker of a lap time. It looks good. He gets a good exit. He now heads towards the start-finish line. Is this enough for pole?
Oh, no! It's not enough for pole position.
It's Dennis Hansen next into the final corner. He's next to set a lap.
He is next to set a lap. The 280 of Lucas moved up to P11 at the very end, so the top 14 separated by 7/10. Here comes Dennis! Dennis goes pole! Dennis goes pole!
He snatches it right at the very end of qualifying. A brilliant lap. There's only one car left out on track, and that was Argent. And he is
Monkey Boy.
Monkey Boy. Where is Monkey Boy? He's currently 21st. Any improvement?
P10. Wow, what a lap there. So the top 15 separated by 7/10. But Dennis Hansen, John Goudet must have climbed out the cockpit, shook his head, probably couldn't believe what lap time he'd set, for it to be beaten with very little time left on the clock. But Dennis Hansen, P1. John Goudet can hold his head high. P2 is a good result.
Yeah, he can. He could definitely be happy with that. And to be fair, it was you needed the perfect lap there, and everyone was just improving left, right, and centre. You just did not know how the final grid was going to look. And in the end, Dennis Hansen finally gets some luck his way, and he puts it on pole position here at Laguna Seca. McLaren back on the pole here.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dennis Hansen needed, was a pole position in this race. But what a close qualifying that was, Dan. It was so incredibly close between the top 15, 16 cars.
It was incredibly close. I mean, it was close last time out at Kyalami, not just for the Pro-Am boys, but for the pros as well. So if this is how close Pro-Am are, I have no idea how tight Pro is going to be. It's going to be literally the slightest slide will determine pole here. And I think as well, this is the first time we've had a McLaren on pole at any point this season.
I believe you're right. Let me check my stats page.
Robert Smith took a double pole position
you're right.
at Bathurst. I took a double pole position at,
you are correct.
In Pro in the Lexus.
Yeah, you are correct. I've just checked the stats page. There is only one pole. By the way, the race one winner, Francisco Gomez, 16th. Oof, down the order. But yeah, you're right. McLaren's... And that's bonkers considering the McLaren dominance in the past.
10 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, you just asked me that question as I have a mouthful of coffee. But no, yeah, definitely, as Matt says in the chat, these qualifying sessions are incredible. Credit to the admins and the work that they put in to arrange the divisions. And again, this is what I mean. This is how, yes, Pro-Am has probably got the most variety of drivers in here, but this is why we always ask you guys, when you do join the server, we got to get these hot stints right, because it puts you in the correct category, and this is what gives us the great racing.
And you've just heard there, you've heard the expression and the enthusiasm on our voices there for Dennis Hansen taking pole after Michelle came so close and after Gooday came so close. This is because these grids are now, I think this is the closest these grids have ever been, and we've been able to do that this season.
You got just as excited about Dennis Hansen taking pole position as I did at Laguna Seca last time.
Suzuka.
Lambo.
Suzuka, yeah. It's Suzuka, wasn't it? Suzuka against Overtaker.
And here.
Well,
because it was chopping and changing so much in Pro last season, you did the same reaction
Would
again.
you say, though, Dan, that looking at his Pro-Am and the Pro grids, that these are the two of the closest grids we've had?
Winter said he couldn't click drive, says Clouden.
Oh, what a shame.
So sadly, he's going to have to start from the pit lane, which is not necessarily a bad thing. He's got still an hour-long race, and he will just be dropped straight away, but he'll just have to endure it, sadly.
Yeah, that's a shame for... Yeah, would you say that these are two of the closest grids we've had at SimPlay?
Regarding the entire pack, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also say sometimes the Pro-Am boys are just, especially last season, Max Mulder and Tim being in Pro-Am, and also Richie Michelle were dipping into Pro Pace. They're now in the Pro categories, the Pro-Am and Pro. Yes, they're definitely split, but you can see that where the progression is getting.
Yeah.
And you can see with Max and Tim as well being in the Pro, it's not as easy as it looks. They've jumped in, and Max has had a couple of podiums, but ever since those podiums, we've not really seen him on the podium since.
Don't forget then, hit that thumbs up button and the bell to be notified when we go live, and hit that subscribe button if you are new to this channel. We are 10 away from the 800 mark, and it would really mean a lot if you could hit that subscribe button. As well as, while you're on the channel, go down to our description and check out our fantastic sponsors. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. The link for the Facebook page is in the description. And check out Audiosport as well. Manufacturers of VW Transporter, T4 Audio Solutions, and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. Link to that and their Facebook page is in the description. Jamal, just tell us how John was feeling during that qualifying, if you can. Would be interested if the top three get promoted and the bottom three get relegated from Pro. From the three ACC leagues I am in, SimPlay is probably the most impressive and professional I've seen so far. L7, thank you so much. Patrick Ledger, thank you so much. That is absolutely incredible of you to say. We do try our best to put on as good a show for you guys as possible. Race 2 though, it is green and go for round 8 of the season. Richie Michelle's already got a demon start, tries to tuck in between. He's tapped Gooday! He's tapped Gooday! Off the road goes John, he's in the wall. That was all on Richie Michelle at the start of that race.
Big penalty coming his way. Big penalty. He couldn't make his mind up where he wanted to go. Either way, Dennis Hansen goes into the lead of this race with his teammate right behind him. So Casper Olin and Dennis Hansen leading the way here. And John Gooday taken out immediately at the start of the race. Goes left, goes right. And I'm looking back on the stream because it's slightly delayed. And Richie Michelle all over the shot and taking out the Mercedes-Benz at the same time.
Watching further down the pack, Paul Williams got Lando Norris looking up the inside. Gary Clarball's in this fight as well. Graham's had a decent start up tonight. He's trying to go toe-to-toe with that of Robert Smith, who's lost out to Lucas already at the start, and Graham can't find a way through, dropping back a little further. Couple of cars through the kink as the left-hander is called. Fat Bloke's gone a little bit wide as Fat Bloke will try and rejoin now as safe as he possibly can. Robert Ramsell's up to 16th place on the back of Brian Craig, and that's Lando Norris, who's already looks like he's off. And there's another car off. It's Casper Olin, I believe. Is that Casper Olin? It is. He's off at the corkscrew.
Oh, just a demon start he had there, and he's ended up dropping down the order. And yeah, a bit of a mistake there as Dennis Hansen's run wide in the final corner, and Steve Beckman is the one who's on the move here.
He is the one who's on the move, and look at Monkey Boy. In fact, no, don't look at Monkey Boy because he's dropped down the order. Look at this train behind Robert Smith. He's had a good start as well, as Lucas and Graham has gone from 14th on the grid to 6th place. He's had a cracking start, up several places from it, and he's got Luke Saunders, Francisco Gomez, who was 16th, let's not forget, to 8th. Paul Williams, Gary Clarball, before the rest of the pack come trailing through at the background at the minute. Old Sim Racers looking up the inside into turn 3 of Project Cars 2 of this track at Laguna Seca, but can't do anything about it there as he holds his line. Robert Ramsell, 16th place.
Steve Beck, though, is the man who's got the fastest lap, and he's wanting to stick to the two at the front. And Dennis Hansen, though, has had a little bit of pressure from Richie Michel, but I do think that Richie Michel has got a lot of work to do. And now, knowing that he's hit one of the championship contenders, was starting to be anyway, out of this race, and he's got major damage to the front end of his car. We're pretty much wiping him out instantly. It's a bit weaving around down the straight, but obviously it would be down to the stewards, and I know for a fact John will be putting that in. But Francesco, once again, a demon start from him. He's 6th place and on the back of Graham. He started 16th, he's 6th. He's a much better racer by the looks of things in qualifier.
He is, and I tell you what, Graham's up the order to P5. He's all over the back of him. Lucas, I believe, was up in this order. He's dropped down the pack somewhere. He's dropped down to 19th, so he's had a moment. Here comes Francisco, though, on the back of Graham. Let's go on board the rear wing of that Bentley, then. There you see, looking back from Graham's Bentley, coming down the straight. Francisco just having a little look, chooses to the outside. Graham comes back across and into the braking zone. He comes, Luke Saunders! Whoa, nearly like a bowling ball and skittling the field, but he manages to avoid the back of Francisco there. That could have been catastrophic for his race. Dropping back down to that then. Luke Saunders now trying to defend from Paul Williams after that late braking moment into turn 1.
Yeah, Paul Williams, he's looked mighty in that McLaren. Since
he's been brilliant,
he's gone to the McLaren. As we see a car running wide, that's probably Francesco. And but Luke Saunders, hats off for avoiding the crash there. He could have easily have just tried to keep braking and try and get out of it, but he's opted to bail out of it and not hit the BMW, which is what we love to see. We love to see drivers, yes, okay, you may not make the corner and you're going to lose time, but you're not going to end up with damage. That is the key thing here. Steve Beck, meanwhile, is slowly creeping onto the back of Richie Michel.
Gary Clarble got a lovely exit out there. Kink and Paul Williams has had to go a little wide to avoid the back of Luke Saunders. And Gary Clarble, thank you mama for the carrots through. He goes. Oh, and he's dropped it. Oh, has he dropped it? I'm not sure if he had. I don't know if that was all on his. He has,
He dropped the rear and ended up in the wall. How easy it is to do so at Laguna Seca, and in the wall he goes.
So that's a move there done. Sam's looking on the back of Lando Norris up the inside into the final corner. Takes a tighter exit, gets a poor exit now down the order as well. Old Sim Racers in this train with Robert Ramsell, who's just, I tell you what, Robert Ramsell, he's qualified down the order, but he's just quietly gone about his business today. What's happened?
Multiple cars off and involving the cranky Duckhead as him and Rob Smith, I think, have come together towards the back of the pack, and they're dropping right down the order.
Dropping right down the order. Where is John Gooday? He's up to 20th. Oh, and he's got some big damage on the front of that car. That is, the boot is wide, sorry, the bonnet is wide open there. And yeah, that is huge damage for John Gooday on that car. So he's got some work to do to try and keep going here then. Looking back to Robert Ramsell, who's quietly gone about his business at the moment. He's got Sim Racer and Brian Craig in front of him. Brian Craig's not got off to the start of the season like he ended last season, has he?
No, he hasn't, but either way, Brian Craig will have to try and slowly work his way through the order and just catch up people out when they can. But Justin Winter probably thinking he's glad he started from pit lane now after all the chaos that's been going on.
Sam's on
Richie Michel has brought the gap back down to 0.4 of a second. Now, Richie Michel, through experience from myself in that Lamborghini gets very weird round here. I've never driven the car in such uncomfortable conditions before. It's very lightning fast, and then out of nowhere it just dies.
Yeah, so, and I think that's where Steve Beck is at the moment. The BMW tends to start, and then after 5 or 10 minutes it tends to go through this weird patch for 15-20 minutes. So I think that's where Beck's is, as Sam then looking up the inside of Lando Norris through that little kink in towards turn 1 and 2. That's a good little move that from Sam, and he gets up another place here. Then Gary Clarble trying to head after Luke Saunders.
There's a whole gaggle of cars in a minute. Sorry, Fat Bloke and the Jackal going at it side by side down to now. And Gooday's in the front of all this, and he really does not want anyone hitting him. Well, they've all managed to negotiate their way through turn 1. Casper Olin's in the middle of all this as well, and DJ Phil's going to stand up the inside of Casper Olin. And no, Casper Olin's going to go around the outside of the Jackal. DJ Phil's still there on the inside, and Casper Olin's going to go around the outside. Fat Bloke's had a poor entry into turn 4, and Casper Olin benefits from that. Now DJ Phil's going to try and look to make a move on the outside as they somehow all manage to negotiate, and Fat Bloke is still trying to fight through Casper Olin.
That's brilliant racing. I think Kane's just had another disconnection here then. He's struggling with connection, and I think he's had another one because he's just left the lobby. I saw a yellow flag, and as we pressed on his name he disappeared, so we'll see what that is. But Casper Olin now trying to get the Jackal. Jackal's off. Was there contact there? I'm not too sure, but the Jackal reverses backwards as to not make contact. Now Cranky Duckhead's got Justin Winter passing him up the inside.
Justin, Richie Michel's taking the lead for the race. Oh, there's contact!
We missed that, Dan. Talk us through what happened.
Richie Michel sending up the inside of turn number 1, and Dennis Hansen got alongside, and he had a slight twitch and contact at the back of the Lamborghini, and Dennis Hansen giving the flash of light saying, sorry, but the Lamborghini looks under pressure here from the McLaren, and Steve Beck and Robert Smith, both in their BMWs, are now right on the rear wing of the leaders.
Yeah, they're all coming onto the back here now as Richie Michel. That's another bit of contact for him. That's just going to add that little bit more damage to his car at the moment then, but he's got the lead of this race from Dennis Hansen, from Steve Beck, from Robert Smith. Graham started to put the gap on Francisco Gomez. He's not a million miles away from this train. Then it's Gomez, Luke Saunders, he's still under pressure from Gary Clarbel, Sam from Lando Norris, with Brian Craig, an old sim racer, and Robert Ramsell and Paul Williams. As then we head a little further back to Mark Tucker with Monkey Boy. John Gooday has been passed by Casper Orlin now for 17th and 18th. No surprise really when you're looking at damage on the front of John Gooday's car. That is huge there. Then it is Fat Bloke from DJ Phil, Rob Smith. Justin Winter is now ahead of Rob Smith. Cranky Duckhead, Lucas Argent, Jackal. Playerman is in the pits.
Playerman is in the pits, and now Richie Michel is just pulling away from the guys behind now. He's starting to gap him a little bit here, but he can't afford to make any mistakes because Dennis Hansen is still right there. And the two BMWs, Robert Smith is looking very racy now, right onto the back of Steve Beck, and looking much more threatening in his rear view mirrors. But Dennis Hansen will probably be a bit frustrated, allowing the Lamborghini to get up the inside and eventually getting past. But he'll be trying everything he can to try and get back on him. Maybe it's a good thing he's dropped behind. Maybe he learned a few different lines. Try and get a little bit closer. Sometimes it's better chasing rather than being chased.
Yeah, it is indeed, rightly so there. Dan is in the background is Graham, who's now gapped Francisco over 3 seconds. And with this pace, how much he will he be regretting race 1, because he's looking pretty good out there in the Bentley, and starting on second place, he'd have been right up there for a good result. Gary Clarbel has now got past Luke Saunders as well. So Gary Clarbel's moved up into 7th place. Bit of a better showing for Gary, as Old Sim Racer now has got the Ferrari of Robert Ramsell behind, and has got Brian Craig in the McLaren just up front. This is looking back from the Old Sim Racer through the corkscrew. There you go, then dropping down. Look how steep that is on board with the Old Sim Racer there. And now you can just see him start to gain on the back of Brian Craig ever so slightly. These two trying to pull in Norris and Sam as well. They're not a million miles up the road, and at the moment though the pit window is miles away for people like John Gooday.
Steve Beck is attacking Dennis Hansen down towards turn number 1. Dennis Hansen squeezed it right to the outside of the circuit and managed to get his brakes out a lot later than Steve Beck. It was very tight, but Dennis Hansen still staying in front. But as these guys are squabbling, Richie Michel is disappearing down the road. Is he half fueling it again?
Possibly so. John Gooday, Dan, in the pits. Has he had enough of that damage? He is into the pit lane. So is there any more damage? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Is there any more damage, or was he just fed up of it? Because he's now into the pits. That is his race pretty much ruined, because he's going to have to come back in around in around 9 minutes time.
Yeah, and I think as well, Richie Michel's got to be thinking to himself, I'm going to be involved in that first lap incident. A big ticket is going to be coming his way. So now he needs to put his head down and try and gap the cars behind if he has the pace. So Dennis Hansen right now, he probably doesn't know what's been going on, but he can kind of, or he does probably know what's going on. He could just try and stick with him, try not to push with him too much, because at the end of the day, he could gain some points there just due to possibly a penalty coming his way.
On board with Casper. Yeah, on board with Casper Orlin. Just seen Sam off to the left there. So he's been passed now by Monkey Boy and Casper Orlin. Casper Orlin looking to attack Monkey Boy as they're gaining on Mark Tucker. Oh, Monkey Boy just bouncing over the first part of the corkscrew there then. And Casper Orlin doing a fine job at the moment. Oh, he's really gained on Monkey Boy. Hits the sausage curb. That bounces him a little bit. He really close in on Monkey Boy through the left-hander there. That was mighty fast through that part of the circuit, and Casper Orlin can continue on his way. But you're right, Sam off. He's now in the clutches of Fat Bloke and Justin Winter.
He is indeed. I've gone back to the front and I saw Richie Michel all the way over to the right hand side of the circuit, not the racing line. A bit loose possibly for the Lambo driver there, as Dennis Hansen is now back under pressure for both of the BMWs. Graham's just currently losing pace to them, as he's got John Gooday back out on track behind him, and Francesco and the other BMW as Luke Saunders are then... Oh, there's no Gary Clarbel's dropped it in the wall.
Easy done out there. You get on the outside line and drop the rear onto the dirt, and it'll easily spit you out into that wall. There's a few sketchy moments for myself in the GT4s last night, and I think we've seen in Pro as well last season, Dan, that you just drop a wheel over that outside curb at that moment, and the car just wants to go round on you, and it will slingshot you into that wall opposite the circuit. Currently on board, though, with that battle of Brian Craig, Paul Williams, who's got back ahead of Robert Ramsell here, and they're all climbing up above Gary Clarbel as well due to that moment.
Yeah, indeed. As Robert Ramsell is really doing a brilliant debut here.
Nice, quiet, steady racing. That's all it's been, hasn't it?
Whoa! We speak too soon. He drops the rear. He doesn't lose any places, but he has a moment there, and he manages to collect it together. We'll come away from him now. We'll shut up about him.
Yeah, Rob Smith's just had a moment. He's slow to get away just before turn 5. So I wonder if he's had a moment at the same place as Clarbel. So interesting. The interesting thing to note here is, who did John only lose a lap? Oh, Playerman's round! Well, we're on board with Rob Smith. Playerman's round at the corkscrew, and that will be... Sorry, not Playerman, the Jackal is round. That'll be another place here. John didn't go a lap down to anybody outside of Francisco. So, after Francisco, he's on the same lap as, effectively, Luke Saunders and the rest of the pack. So he's not necessarily out of this race yet. Moments happen to other drivers, incidents happen to other drivers. He could pick up places here. Fresh car, ready to go. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, but he's got to hope for a miracle, to be honest, mate.
Oh, yeah, massively.
It's all well and good saying that he's still in this, but it's going to be a long race for him, and a stressful one at that, because he'll be sitting in cars that are the pace that he's running.
Yep.
Oh, it's Casper Ollins had a big moment. He's in the dirt, in the gravel, and he's managing to get going and joining back on track. Not sure what happened there. I went on board with him, and he's in the dirt, and he's dropped all the way down to, I believe it's going to be 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Argent's coming up on him. While you were saying that, Clarbel went off on the exit of the kink before Laguna Seca up the hill. So I'm not sure what happened to Clarbel either. I don't know if he's lost any places. So drivers just starting to struggle, Dan. They're into that 15-minute window now, where the first race was only 20 minutes long. Oh, and Casper Ollins bounced off the sausage curb again. He's struggling to turn that car, it looks like, and now he's ended up in a wall. Huge damage. That car did not want to turn left for some reason there.
Probably already a lot of damage from possibly hitting the wall or anything like that, just knocking the steering ever so slightly, and now he's having to trail his way back to the pits, and John Goudet possibly might have a racing friend with him.
Going to be interesting. John Gooday's going to take any points he can pick up here in this race. Just looking at the leaders, Dennis Hansen's not been dropped much more by Richie Michelle. He has, though, dropped Stephen Beck and Robert Smith, who them two are having a good fight. They are well ahead of Graham. Graham's got a good gap to Francisco, then Luke Saunders, Lando Norris a little further behind. Old Sim Racers pretty close, or gaining on Lando Norris. Brian Craig still with Paul Williams. Robert Ramsell, Mark Tucker's got Monkey Boy, Sam, Winter, Fat Bloke, Clarbel, pretty much in a close queue. DJ Phil's not far off the back. Casper Ollin in the pitch. John Gooday's going to pass him now, as John Gooday's sticking with, and that's going to be the annoying thing, like you've just said a minute ago, isn't it? He's sticking with Francisco and Sutty. That's going to really irritate him.
Yeah, it's going to wind him up massively, because he, like I said, he knows the pace he can be running right now. He knows he can be racing with these guys, but he's just not there because of the silly incident that he's been involved in. Robert Smith, meanwhile, is right on the rear wing of Steve Beck. There's two BMW drivers running the same liveries in a different colour scheme. It's a bit throwing my eyes a little bit. But either way, they're having a good little scrap here. Seems like Steve Beck just has enough at the minute, but Robert Smith's just a little bit tidier at the moment. But other than that, no real other fights going on in there. Lando Norris
there is.
Ran wide.
We're on board.
John Gooday's had another moment.
There we go.
Yeah, he's off.
We're on board with Monkey Boy here. Justin Winters tried to go around the outside of Sam at turn 1 and 2. Can't do so. We're watching on the rear of Monkey Boy. Does John have any damage to the car? That's the question, though, Dan.
Well, it doesn't matter. Either way, he's going to be still fed up with this race. From what I can tell, no. Not what I can see. So
he's got away with
just
it.
had a spin.
Monkey Boy's chasing that of Mark Tucker. He's got Winter and Sam right on the back of him. Justin Winter's going to try and have a look up towards the corkscrew. Bails out of that now. Tucks to the inside. Oh, he's hit him! He's hit Sam. Monkey Boy's gone deep. He's hit Sam. And Justin Winter there, he looked for a move. You're never going to make it work at the corkscrew unless you're fully alongside. DJ Phil trickles through, and poor old Sam, as Justin Winter carries on his way. That looks like a pretty nailed on penalty there.
Yeah, definitely so. Just dropped the rear, and that was enough to spin Sam round. And yeah, and Monkey Boy having to take a evading action as well. But that was a good little scrap that was going on there, and Graham still got Francesco just a little bit closer behind him. Old Sim Racer was within 0.2 of Lando Norris. Lando Norris has extended that gap, and then we got the Brian Craig, Paul Williams and Robert fight at the minute as well. So there is still fights going on, but no one looking really close to try something at this stage.
The Jackal has had a moment at the corkscrew yet again as the leaders are coming through. Here comes Sutty. Jackal's managed to get going, so that's great. In fact, oh, that was the 666, sorry. That was Dennis Hansen who's had the moment. Apologies. So Steve Beck and Robert Smith have gone through. I apologise, I thought it was the Jackal. He's 999. So Dennis Hansen then, who was, trying to stay with Richie Michelle, has just dropped it at the corkscrew all on his own, and is now close to the back of Graham as he drops a wheel in the gravel on the exit of the final corner. But Dennis Hansen there, they're not the corkscrew he'd have wanted. Paul Williams, trying to break it at top 10 again by getting ahead of Brian Craig. Much better showing from Brian Craig today.
Yeah, much indeed, but he's got to try and defend from the fellow McLaren driver as they head towards turn number 1, and he's going to be looking for any opportunity to just slither up the inside or outside, depending on what mistake that Brian Craig makes. But at the minute, no door opening for him at this stage, as Graham obviously gets close to Dennis Hansen now after his little mistake, and obviously those tyres are going to be screeching after it's still a very hot track, and Graham just touching the gravel there, just making a slight mistake.
Yeah, he's just making a slight mistake, but we'll see what he can do then, because he's now got a chance here, Dan, hasn't he, on board with him. Oh yeah, the Bentley camera on the other side of the car. Look, the only right-hand drive car on the grid. Here we see Graham. Now let's go on where we can see the driver's angle. There we go. Look, the only right-hand drive car on this grid. Graham doing a fantastic job. It's a shame that the driver's overalls and helmet that they select don't save, because that'd be interesting to see what colours people go with for that. But yeah, great. He's looked pretty good in the Bentley P5.
Do they not save?
They do for you, but when we go on board them on stream here, they're all just red overalls, black helmets, sadly.
That's boring.
Yeah.
That is boring. Now Graham looking a little bit racy now. He sees a car that he can chase. Now I think Gomez is hunting him down, but Gomez has got significantly closer to him. And as we're getting closer to the pit window now, it's only just under 5 minutes till the pit window opens, and this is where we should start to see the strategies fall into place, as Monkey Boy is on the rear wing of Justin Winter, with Gary Clarball just behind them as well.
So Justin Winter's got past Monkey Boy. Who else was?
Oh, who's that off?
Mark Tucker.
Mark Tucker's way off in turn 1.
Yeah, he was also in the lead part of that group as well. So Mark Tucker way off there. Gary Clarball with Monkey Boy and Justin Winter. Fat blokes now off. Tell you what, drivers seem to be making their own mistakes at the moment.
Yep. Welcome to Spooky Laguna.
Yeah, exactly. And look at this trio here, Dan. Paul Williams on the back of Brian Craig. Robert Ramsell's not a million miles away. Paul Williams gets it stopped, manages to not hit the back there of Brian Craig. This is a great scrap between these three. This is ebbing and flowing. Paul Williams seems to be closer to Craig at one moment, and then back in the clutches of Robert Ramsell the next. As Robert going to have a look up the inside. He has a cheeky dive. Williams gives him the room, but can't get close enough to do it. Robert Ramsell now looking racy.
Yeah, speaking of racy as well, Gomez is looking to attack Graham into turn number 1 as Dennis Hansen now laps a car. But Graham under some immense pressure from the BMW driver now. Gomez has got the wind up his backside, and he's looking to try and work his way onto the podium if he possibly can.
Yeah, he'd love another podium to go with that race win. He's had a fantastic day so far, and I'm sure he'd love that podium to go with the race win that he had earlier on. It was fantastic win for him, and it really was great to see what he can do.
He's got him
in this car. He has got him indeed. So good move from Francisco there. And he's been the man on form today, hasn't he, really? You can't say much more than that. He's really put in the work today, and it's paid off for him.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, Mark Tucker's off again. That is... Where is that? That's the penultimate corner. He's gone. He has retired from this race. He has just left the lobby. So that is that'll be a qualifying ban. Robert Smith, by the way, still staring at the back of Stephen Beck here. Graham now trying to get back in front. That's the lapped car of Lucas, I believe, who is off the road at the penultimate corner then. So they all get through there. Old Sim Racer still trying to chase down Lando Norris. They've also gained on Luke Saunders, though, Dan.
Yeah, they're slowly caught their way onto the back of him, but once again, this is the great thing about, well, not the great thing, but the frustrating thing about Laguna Seca. Once you catch a car, it's very difficult to overtake it. Once you're stuck behind a car, you end up getting used to staring at the back of it. As you can ask Robert Smith right now, he's been staring at the back of that other BMW for pretty much the majority of this race.
Yeah, indeed he has. Gary Clarble chasing down Monkey Boy. That's another close fight here then. Paul Williams. What's happened to Paul Williams, Dan? Was in the middle of Robert Ramsell and Brian Craig. He's now 8 seconds behind them. So he's had a moment somewhere.
Sorry, and he's got damage to the front end of his car as well.
Yeah, he's definitely gone off and hit something.
Or has he been assisted round?
Potentially so.
Graham's back in front of Francesco as well.
By 2 seconds. Yeah, oh no, sorry, 2 seconds it was to Luke Saunders and Graham there. That's now 2/10 as they've gone through the next sector time. So Francisco maybe made a mistake, or has Graham just come back at him? Who knows? But Graham in the thick of a fight. He loves a good fight as well. He'll be really enjoying this with Graham.
Oh, he will indeed, and he'll be pushing as much as he can to pull away from him. Steve Beck and Robert Smith, meanwhile, are pretty much matching Richie Michelle out front. The gap has stayed at 5.4. It did go down just to 5 seconds exactly, but they seem to just be matching him at the minute, not allowing him to disappear into the distance.
And I think that's the good thing for Steve Beck in this race, because at the moment, you know, if that penalty is hanging over the head of Richie Michelle, well, you know, they're going to capitalise on this misfortune, aren't they, of what he did at the start. Steve Beck could be a race winner. Obviously, the pit stops are coming up. That's going to be an interesting thing to play a part of. Graham's now gapped Francisco a little bit here, so that's interesting. But yeah, like you say, Steve Beck trying to do the best he can here. Then Gary Clarble off at the final corner. Justin Winter going up the inside of DJ Phil. Sam's trying to follow them both through as well, as he's not close enough to DJ Phil at the minute. Now Sam's going to have maybe a dive up the inside. DJ Phil has a dive on Justin Winter. DJ Phil goes very wide, and Sam tries to go up the inside. DJ Phil's fighting it back though here. Go on, DJ Phil. This is a great bit of fighting from him. Great to see fighting the old dog. The man who's got the most race starts at SimPlay Motorsport manages to hang on over Sam as Rob Smith pulls that trigger and is the first man to come into the pits. As is Robert Smith. Sam's made a mistake. He's dropped in at the turn 4 corner on the exit. Just dropped a wheel over the curb and into the wall he goes. Sutty and Francisco both come in as well. So a lot of drivers choosing to pit early.
As does Dennis Hansen. Now Robert Smith always seems to go with the option of low fuel and tyres, and I think no tyres, and I think he's added a bit more fuel this time, I think, to this pit stop than he usually does. Dennis Hansen's in as well, but we'll see how this will work out. But Steve Beck was in front. The gap has extended to Richie Michelle now, so I'm starting to think more that Richie Michelle has possibly gone low fuel and tyres again. I think is what he's going to be going for.
Well, let's wait and see what he does. I can tell you it is 56 seconds for a tyre loss.
Graham has jumped Dennis Hansen, as has Gomez, as has Norris. Hansen is still in the pits.
Right, okay then. So Dennis Hansen really going for a long pit stop. Is he possibly looking at tyres as well? So this is going to be an interesting one, see what it plays out. He's now gone green, but like you say, has lost out massively to Graham, Francisco, and that of Lando Norris. DJ Phil is in the middle of them three as well. Kieran Argent on the back of Cranky Duckhead. Kieran Argent obviously having that injury to his leg, just kind of plodding around for points, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, he's just trying to gain as much points as he possibly can. At least he finishes the race and will score points. Probably will be his drop score, depending on how badly the rest of the season has gone. Luke Saunders has now come into the pits as well. So I'm interested to see what Steve Beck's plan is here, because he could be, he might have some pace still in that car, or is he's just managing it at the minute?
Yeah, but again, like you say, he could be higher fuel than Richie Michelle. We're just going to have to wait and see what he's going to do in this race. At the moment, but 7.7 off the lead. Old Sim Race has gone up the order. Luke Saunders has done his pit stop. Brian Craig and Fat Bloke in. So Luke Saunders in. And is he going to possibly be out the pits? Let's go to the helicopter camera. He's not yet away. Rob Smith is in and out. So Rob Smith did his pit stop the last lap, didn't he? Where is Luke Saunders? There he is. Loses out to Graham. In fact, no, he doesn't. Graham was already ahead of him, wasn't he, before the round of pit stops? But I think he might lose out now to Lando Norris, who Lando Norris was behind him. Luke Saunders there just coming off the limiter. Just in front of DJ Phil. Lando Norris going to try and look up the inside. Luke Saunders turns in. There's Lando Norris.
Not good.
Now,
turning up the inside, and I think possibly as well Luke Saunders could have given a bit more room, but either way, Richie Michelle is into the pits, and he hasn't stopped quickly. So he has actually. He hasn't gone for a tyre change this time. He's gone for the fuel option.
Possibly learning from his mistake from last week, Dan.
Possibly so, but we'll see how that Lamborghini handles towards the end of this race. But Robert Smith now exiting the final corner, and Richie Michelle on his way.
Yeah, Richie Michelle on his way. Robert Smith exits the final corner. So you just wonder what strategy is going to be played out by Steve Beck here. There is Richie Michelle coming out the pit lane. Robert Ramsell's got past. Robert Smith isn't yet past either, as DJ Phil now comes into the pits. Just Cranky Duckhead left to pit. Dennis Hansen's on the back of Brian Craig, Dan. So that's where Dennis Hansen came out, behind Brian Craig and Lando Norris. So he had a terrible pit stop.
He has indeed. Awful stop. I'm not sure. He must have changed tyres.
Yeah, he's got to have done something, because that is really poor from him. And not what you want to see. Is he's got up the inside of Brian Craig at the final corner, so he's made the move stick, and it puts him up another place. Steve Beck now answers the question of when he'll pit, as in he comes now. Richie Michelle coming up to the corkscrew. He's got a pretty clear road in front of him for a little bit, and then he's going to catch some traffic. So let's see. In fact, one of them is actually Robert Ramsell, so let's wait and see. DJ Phil, long stop for him in the pit lane. Steve Beck to Robert Smith. That's the real gap we're trying to watch out and work out here.
Yeah, we are indeed. As Steve Beck, we are at the halfway stage of this race. Steve Beck's still not gone green yet, as Richie Michelle exits the final corner. And once again, Steve Beck having a very long pit stop again, and Robert Smith is going to get him.
Yeah, where's Graham?
Easily.
Graham's nowhere near at the moment, but Steve Beck hasn't gone green yet.
Old Sim Racer has gone green.
So Old Sim Racer's jumped Steve Beck. Steve Beck now goes green. Helicopter camera on Graham. Graham should jump Old Sim Racer, surely. There's Steve Beck in the pits. He's jumped Steve Beck. What about Francisco Gomez, who's nowhere near the back of Graham anymore? Old Sim Racer off the limiter. He gets past Steve Beck. Luke Saunders is only just leaving the final corner, so he won't. So Graham, at the moment, Dan, is a net podium. I would not have expected to have spoken to him today.
Well, we still got to get to the end of the race.
Well, true, yeah.
This is Graham we're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't click on there. But hey, Bentley back on the podium. We haven't seen the Bentley on the podium for a while. Not really many close battles on the track at the moment. But Steve Beck there. Luke Saunders only a couple of seconds behind him. Cranky Duckhead yet to pit. Still a couple of minutes. Casper Ollins in, and Playerman is now in as well. So this is going to be interesting to find out who's going to be able to do what later in this race. Old Sim Racer is a net P5 at the moment. Robert Ramsell comes in, and let's keep our eyes on Graham, because what do you lose for a pit stop, did I say? It was 29 seconds in and out perfectly with 1 litre of fuel. So that'll put him around this Francisco, possibly Old Sim Racer. He could even jump Steve Beck here as well.
He could indeed, if it's just a quick fuel and go. That is the question. But I think for this circuit, you're going to have to just go with fuel, and that's it. Track position is key. There's a car off at the corkscrew.
Oh, it's John
Try and find
Goodate.
out
It's
who
John
that
Godate's car 8. He's had
not
another
going from
moment.
bad to
Yeah,
worse.
he's had another moment. Robert Ramsell hasn't had a quick stop. Here comes Luke Saunders and Cranky Duckhead, but Cranky Duckhead still to pit. There goes Lando Norris. Dennis Hansen's down in 11th place, so he's going to try and come back at them as well. Just looking at the chat, bad move, Lance Stroll. Not sure what Skunky's on about there. Bad Lando.
Norris.
Oh, the Lando Norris incident. Yeah, interesting one to see. Closest battle on track, Rob Smith, Paul Williams. Dan, I'm going to run for the toilet, and I shall leave you with the Paul Williams, Rob Smith battle.
I've got to find it now. Yeah, so Rob Smith going a little bit deep in the corkscrew. Just as he goes away, he drops the rear and off he goes. So that's pretty much the end of that fight as well. So Paul Williams has moved up a position. Actually, Warren Matthews gone and was now stuck on one of the cars. Please, guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that bell to be notified for when we are live. And if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our sim grid and our Discord, get yourself signed up and head over to the hot stints and get yourself in the correct category. But at the minute, in this stage of the race, it's still Richie Michelle leading the way from Robert Smith, from Graham, from Francesco, from Old Sim Racer, Steve Beck, Luke Saunders, Cranky Duckhead, Lando Norris and Dennis Hansen rounds out your top 10. And also make sure you tune in tomorrow night, because Matthew Duffin will be back in the commentary box with P. Raiden, who both will be giving you the action of the pros around Laguna Seca. And then obviously in a week's time we'll be back live once again, but at the Temple of Speed at Monza for the next round of the season. And that circuit is going to be an interesting one. We possibly have rain lurking as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on the weather on that one. But nonetheless, please guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and all your likes and support do us a massive favour here at SimPlay Motorsport.
We're back.
And nice.
We are back.
Just as you walked away, Rob Smith dropped it.
I could not hold that any longer, so I do apologise. Yeah, so Rob Smith dropped it, and so that's his battle with Paul Williams put to bed. Just looking at the rest of the field at the moment, nothing really to chat about, other than the fact Rob Ramsell's trying to chase Brian Craig, who's trying to stay ahead of John Goodey. Obviously, John Goodey a lap down at the moment, and yeah, Lando, we have lost Lucas from this race, but he did put in the chat that he has to go somewhere, so that is no points for thingy, but probably not the retirement ban. Pit window is closed. Everybody has done their stops, and yeah, interesting fights now happening. Cranky Duckhead, after his long strategy, moves up to P13 from by the back end of the grid. So not a bad race for Cranky Duckhead here in his 50th.
Not
as we say that,
race.
as we say that, he spins at the
Nicely
corkscrew.
done, Matthew. We need to stop saying nice things about drivers, because every time we do, they end up having a moment or end up dropping it. So
where
yeah,
did Robert Ramsell come out? That was P11. So after his stop, he's on the back of Brian Craig. So yeah, not too bad. Robert Smith's only 5 seconds behind Richie Michelle as well. So depending on that penalty, Dan, Robert Smith could gain this race win.
He could indeed. And Graham could possibly, depending on the size of the podium, penalty, could possibly up into second place as well. Francesco, after the pit stops, just had no pace on Graham towards the end of this.
It looks like he's
Robert.
He's going to be under more pressure from Old Sim Racer at the moment, because Old Sim Racer's been bringing that gap down, been chipping away.
Yeah, he has, as Brian Craig still defending heavily from Robert Ramsell as they go into the corkscrew. And John Goudet just, I was going to say being a bit of a nuisance, but he's just probably making Robert look at his mirrors a little bit too much than he probably wants to.
Just a little bit too much, as Skunky saying twice now with the commentators' curse. Hey, it's a real thing. Me and Kelly discovered this the other year, me and KLF, it is a real thing. Oh, John's tapped the back of Robert Ramsell! Oh no, John! Just exactly with what you're saying, Dan. He's just a little too close. The worst thing is he's a back marker. They shouldn't be making them kind of incidents.
if anything, that's probably helped Justin Winter out, who, may I remind you, started from pit lane, and he's up into 11th place position now. His next target is Brian Craig, but
so both him and Robert Ramsell, because Robert started pit lane race 1, 11th place, top 10 possibly.
Yeah.
And that's fine,
Solid
Patrick.
drive.
Don't worry, Patrick. I can just not say anything about you at all tomorrow night. So we'll see. Matt, don't you be mentioning my name in the race tomorrow.
I think you know who
I won't be talking about anybody now.
Mate, you can talk about me if you like.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, thanks very much. Coming up the hill then, once again.
I need a drop score that's a little bit less scary looking.
So looking at this table though at the moment, Dan, Steve Beck's now on the back of Luke Saunders for P6 and 7. Lando Norris not a million miles behind them. So Steve Beck trying to bring something back in this race. An old sim racer, by the way, he's pulled another half a second out of Francisco Gomez.
He has indeed. Old sim racer is coming for him in the Ferrari, and as well, Robert Smith, if anything, is starting to just creep onto the back of Richie Michelle, although Richie Michelle has got past some back markers, which Monkey Boy is fighting Fat Bloke at the minute, and Robert Smith is just behind them. Blue flags will be flashing like mad, and in front of them is DJ Phil, so this could end up badly, but Fat Bloke, being fair, jumps straight out of the way, and Robert Smith now onto the back. Monkey Boy,
he bails.
hits the back of him.
I don't know if he was hitting the back of DJ Phil or bailing for Robert Smith, who looked like he was going to lunge up the inside. Yeah, either way, straight out the way. Did not want a part of that, did Monkey Boy or Fat Bloke. Now Robert Smith chasing down to DJ Phil, like you say. Lando Norris within 8 tenths of Beck's now, as Luke Saunders had a bit of an awkward Laguna Seca corkscrew there. And now Beck just not able to get close enough to that rear to make a move maybe into the final corner.
So if anybody wants to send me a bit of a bribe, I could possibly jump in the commentary box tomorrow night just to help your night out if you want. Get my predictions and thoughts in. So Skunky says, just talk about Dan and Overtaker. Trust me, I don't need a commentator's curse for me to mess up this, because the Laguna Seca and the Lexus seems to be a awful combination.
You're not enjoying it too much, are you?
I actually missed the Lamborghini, and let's just put it this way, my last time I raced here in the Lamborghini, it went terribly wrong.
Didn't go great neither.
No,
to say you've got 2 poles and 4 wins around this circuit, as Justin Winter's gone a little deep. Robert Ramsell's going to try and tuck back underneath, and he does indeed. Lovely little move. Justin Winter had to go onto the gravel a little bit, but that is job done. Robert Ramsell moves back up to 11th place now, back to Luke Saunders and Steve Beck. Lando Norris is there. Beck's round. Drops the rear on his own. I was just about to say Lando Norris and Dennis Hansen are coming, but Beck, whose pit stop cost him a possible race win, has now dropped it at the kink.
Yeah, he's dropped down the kink, and Brian Craig luckily is nowhere near him at this stage, but Brian Craig always seems to have drivers behind him, and then they end up having their own little moments and mistakes themselves, and then he's just managing just to stay ahead of cars.
And, you know, he's just doing a good job of just defending where he needs to, placing the car...
He's going to drop it now, because I've said it.
Placing the car beautifully, and just everybody behind him just seems to not be able to get past and push a little too hard. We've just seen Robert Ramsell there make a little mistake at the corkscrew. This could invite Justin Winter to look up the inside. Day late, dollar short. Day late, dollar short. John Gooday tucks through and unlaps himself. Justin Winters actually came off worse from that, as Monkey Boy's clear. DJ Phil and Fat Bloke's now gone around at the kink. So that's going to allow Argent and Casper... No, is that Argent and Dennis? That is Casper Olin. Casper's a lap down. That's possibly why.
Fat Bloke and that kink has really not been his best friend tonight at all.
Old Sim Racer Dan is right up the rear wing of Francisco here. And Francisco's just dropped it in the gravel. Old Sim Racer gives him a cheeky flash. You're not going to look to make the move at the corkscrew, but he's right with him now, Dan. Old Sim Racer just seems to be getting better and better in this second.
Yeah, he seems to be on a roll at this stage, and just creeping onto the back of the BMW. But we don't want to say too much, because we could curse him. I'm not saying anything. Yeah, Old Sim Racer just starting to look at possibly getting into the 4th place position.
This has really helped Graham out. Graham looking for that podium now. It'd be great to see and possibly hear from him in his first 2 races of the season. Dennis Hansen still trying to stick to the back of that of Lando Norris. Down the order, Gary Clarbel and the Jackal, the 2 Porsches, are going right at it as well. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight to see what these 2 can do at the moment.
Will indeed. I do miss that Porsche. It is a beautiful car, and it sounds amazing. Maybe next season. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see what the Porsche will bring for you maybe next season. It's going to be an interesting one. Core 93! Ooh. Richie Michel! He's lost the lead of this race. He's had a mistake at the corkscrew. He's failed to get going. And Robert Smith takes the lead. And that's going to massively help Graham in depending on this penalty hanging over Richie Michel's head.
Oh, I told you, the Lamborghini gets weird, and it's bitten him. And the gap was 23.2 seconds to Robert Smith for Graham. And Graham now is going to be a lot closer to these guys. He's just got to stay consistent. And Graham now is possibly looking to get a 2nd place maybe over his head.
Oh, Richie Michel's now gone deep at turn 1. Is that car started to die? Cranky Duckhead's
He's got
in the pits
damage
for some
a little
reason
bit as well.
Has that car just started to go off here?
I did say the Lambo just goes into this really weird stage here at Laguna. Just seems to just die.
Patrick in the chat, your timing of switching over to some drama is impeccable. That's because we just get like a Spider-Man sense of something's going to happen. Boom, we're on it. We are good. We've done this for...
Yeah, like something like is going to happen literally this second. Like somebody is just going to drop it and we're going to find them and be like, oh look, somebody's had a moment. Like yellow flag up into sector 2. Justin Winters just dropped it.
Has he actually?
Yeah, he has. He's just had a moment.
Cranky Duckhead's back in the pits. We're still watching Richie Michel just for this brief second as he manages to navigate the corkscrew.
Oh, Sam and Arjun are going at it into the corkscrew. They're pretty much pushing one another going into the corkscrew. Arjun manages to hang in there, but Sam's had a much better line through there. Paul Williams is just with him. So Sam and Paul Williams are part of the FBR clan, and they've come together.
It's like we knew it was going to happen. Arjun then a flash of the lights to Sam as Paul Williams gets through on the pair of them. Then John Gooday's now past Cranky Duckhead. That's why Cranky's in the pits. His bonnet is lifted, and that is going to hurt him. So Kieran Arjun up to 15th place. I'm sure he'll take that given the fact that he's driving hurt tonight. Lando Norris still within 7/10 of Luke Saunders. Ultim Racers
now 17th.
He is now 17th. Apologies, yeah. Ultim Racers just dropped off the back of Gomez just ever so slightly after putting some pressure on him.
Yeah, and they've had to clear some traffic as well by the looks of things as well. Possibly the fat bloke. Is that fat bloke? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, it is. It's fat bloke and the Jackal and Clarbel who have all been fighting. So, yeah, that's where they've been kind of just having a little fight.
Oh no, wrong part of the track map. There's another car off. That's the 31. I thought the leaders was coming through to the pack. Who's the 31? That's Cranky. Probably just staying out of the way. It was Francisco coming up through all that train of cars. Oof. Yeah, there's no wonder Ultim Racers probably lost that little bit of time to him.
They're trying to just clear the traffic, but they've managed to get through it all. They are coming up to another 2 cars just in front. Graham is the car in front, but it's also Ultim Racers teammate of Rob Smith just in front in the old Ferrari.
I'd like to know why he's in the old Ferrari.
He possibly doesn't have the DLCs.
Yeah, might have to drop him a message and just see why. Dennis Hansen's gaining on the back of Lando Norris here then, as he's trying to still put pressure on that of Luke Saunders.
Getting on the back of him, mate, he's pretty much pushing him into the corkscrew. That's how fast he went into there. Richie Michel also starting to bring that gap back down to Robert Smith once again. He's
got to be careful here. He's obviously had that contact, didn't he, with Dennis Hansen a little earlier, which we think was Dennis Hansen having a moment. He's had the start line incident. Richie Michel's got to be careful to overtake Robert Smith. If he makes contact again, he's just going to put himself in a bit more danger of penalties, isn't he? And that's the problem when you've kind of had a couple of incidents. You're kind of in that shot window then to just add on to that time. And you're not going to want to lose even more points if you do get more time penalties.
You then become magnetised to it. You then start getting used to it, end up having incidents and problems. DJ Phil Meanwhile, it's got Sam breathing down his neck, and DJ Phil's run wide. Keeps it together. Sam's going to go up the inside, and that's going to invite Paul Williams now to come up the inside of DJ Phil. DJ Phil squeezing him to the inside of the circuit, and DJ Phil just manages to stay ahead of Paul Williams.
He needs to decide what he's doing, because we keep seeing him trying the wheel racing on the pad, the wheel racing on the pad.
Dennis Hansen up the inside of Lando Norris, and as they come up to the kink, he's trying to get himself onto the racing line again, a bit ambitious of trying to do it so soon. But Luke Saunders runs a little bit wide. He goes straight to the inside to defend, and I'm pretty sure that's probably multiple movements there. But Dennis Hansen, and Luke Saunders has gone deep into the corkscrew. Dennis Hansen going to go round the outside of him, and good job
move
there from Dennis Hansen, up into 6th place position now. Steve Beck now onto the back of this fight.
Yeah, good move, Dennis Hansen there. He caught the end of that one. Old Sim Racers back within a second now of Francisco Gomez in the chat. Just seeing a few comments as well. Skunky saying that Old Sim Racer gets his vote for driver of the day, and Mike saying that Gomez for him, great race one, well done, and done well in this one at the time as well. So going to be interesting on driver of the day. Lando Norris coming under pressure from Steve Beck. We believe Steve Beck changed tyres. That's probably why he's got a bit more momentum down the start line to the outside of turn 1. Lando squeezes him just enough. He's going to try and tuck underneath his Steve Beck. Can't do so though. Nearly gets to the back of Lando Norris, dropping back down to Paul Williams, who's still on the rear of DJ Phil. He can't get past DJ Phil at the moment. But what I was going to say about DJ Phil is he needs to pick and choose whether he's on the wheel or the pad, because at the minute I think this is hurting his racing, chopping and changing every race.
Steve Beck just gave Lando Norris a heck of a whack from behind and gave him a good old push. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, innit? You feel comfortable with one thing. I mean, Overtaker has stuck with the controller pretty much entire racing career on sim racing, and he's very good at it. If you go to the wheel, he's probably going to end up in Pro-Am. You just don't know. As Steve Beck's still right on the back wing of Lando Norris, and Lando Norris got deep into the corkscrew. Was that due to contact from Steve Beck? That is the question, but nonetheless Steve Beck has gone through, and he gains a position there. But you just get comfortable with one thing. You end up just being happy with it. You end up just, you know, as soon as you take someone away, it's like at the minute, Matt, you're trying to train yourself to take the racing line off. You still can't manage to just trust your brain not to use it. But it's you know, you've got to train yourself to get out of that habit. And once you do, and you train yourself to be comfortable with something, then everything else will slowly fall into place. Yeah,
100%. Gomez as well for L7 in the chat. I'm sure we'll get a poll up shortly for that driver of the day. Old Sim Racers really starting to put pressure on Gomez now. Sutty has just dropped a little wheel into the gravel though. He's still all right at the moment, and great to see this here then from Graham. We're going to be able to hear from him in this race now. I can't wait to see that. Sutty will be buzzing with that one, no doubt as well. So far so good for Robert Smith in this race. He managed to get hold of the lead when Richie Michel didn't do anything. What a shame for that first race. Steve Beck within 9/10 now of Luke Saunders, who's quickly dropped Lando Norris and is quickly onto the rear of Luke Saunders here. Then he is not wasting any time. He's not messing around. He wants to get on with this and knows he's got to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he has. And as well, what I've noticed as well is Richie Michel hasn't done anything with that pace since he's not been able to get with Robert Smith, and he's now 2 seconds off the leader. So yeah, it's all kind of starting to even out, other than Luke Saunders has got Steve Beck right behind him.
Right behind him on the brakes goes Luke Saunders, just a little wide of the apex. Steve Beck right over the apex, and here we go down towards turn 1. Steve Beck just maybe without fresher rubber at this stage of the race, trying to get alongside, can't get alongside Luke Saunders though. Luke Saunders got the better exit. The 2M4's going hammer and tong at the moment, and Luke Saunders covers off the inside line but goes deep. Beck goes deep as well, doesn't go as deep as Saunders, and up and under he goes. That is the move done. Old Sim Racer now really putting some pressure on Francisco, and you just get the feeling that if Old Sim Racer gets ahead of Francisco here, he might have a chance at Graham.
Yeah, but he's running out of time. He needs to clear that BMW relatively quickly, and it's the last thing that Graham will probably want at this stage. So he's hoping the other BMW driver is going to be holding that car up as much as he possibly can. And just as well, Matt, top 6 cars in this race. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, it's a shame it's 2 BMWs.
Yeah, I know what he was going to say, but you imagine John Gooday didn't have that first lap incident, but all the two BMWs, it's again. This is what the BOP got brought in to do, wasn't it? Because you look at that order, it is so jumbled up between the manufacturers out there at the moment. Francisco had a bit of a wiggle coming out the penultimate corner. Here comes the old sim racer to the outside. Francisco holds the line, goes a little deep on exit, and now the old sim racer could try and storm up the inside on board with him. You just see Francisco's BMW just able to creep back in front a little bit and manages to do so now. What's going to happen under the braking? Old sim racer tucks up the inside. Is he through? Yes, he is on the apex. Francisco holds a tight line, can't do it there. That is a great move, old sim racer, and he's now put a bit of daylight between the pair of them and can head after Graham.
Yeah, he's got 7.5 minutes to try and catch Graham. That's 5 seconds. So he'll want to try and at least do him 2 seconds a lap if he possibly can. But it's going to be very difficult to do so from here. But Skunky in the chat said it took me about 3 months to get up to speed, switching from the pad to the wheel last year. Maybe longer than 3 months. But yeah, you can never learn and make progress if you keep switching, for example, from pad to wheel, says L7. Exactly, this is what I mean. You've got to try, if you want to learn something new or be able to adapt to the racing, you really do have to stick to it. Yes, you're going to fail, but obviously failure is your best teacher.
I think as well,
everything.
I think to add to that point as well is, you know, like you say, sacrifice a season. Sacrifice a season. Just drive something that's probably a little more stable, a little bit of something that you don't drive, like a Lexus, like a BMW, like a McLaren, and just drive that for a season on the wheel. Gary Claubel's around in the background, I've just noticed there. He is now able to turn her around. Where is Fat Bloke? He's already passed him. Rob Smith has already passed him. The Jackal's already passed him. John Gooday is a little bit closer to Gary Claubel now. Gary Claubel coming up to the final corner, so John Gooday could possibly get something done here. Sim Racer 5.4 from Graham. Mike Matthews, one of the best things I did was turn that off. And Pien's mentioned an F1 game out of nowhere.
No, L7 brought it up. It took him taking the racing line off at F1.
Oh, there we go. Yep, sorry, just read that. Yep, apologies. Yep, sorry, just read that one.
Old Sim Racer right now at the minute is not gaining enough on Graham. He's 5.4, so I think Graham, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, is looking solid for a podium at the minute. There's been a car off. That's Paul Williams, and he was on the back of DJ Phil, so Paul Williams has lost out to DJ Phil here. Fat Bloke's going to be close to the back of him. Rob Smith is slowly working on them as well. And yeah, the back end of the grid starting to congest possibly a little bit.
Yeah, they are just a little bit. It is going to start to congest just ever so slightly as they all come through. DJ Phil's 1.9 off the back of Argent. In fact, he's just flashed Argent there, and I don't know if Argent's just let him back through. They're still side by side coming down the start straight now. DJ Phil definitely flashed Argent, and Argent now yields that place to DJ Phil. So I'm not sure what happened there between Kieran Argent and DJ Phil then, but them two have exchanged places. DJ Phil now moving his way back up to 15th place then at the moment. Francisco Gomez back within 8/10 of Old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer's just running out of time here as Francisco jumps over the curb there, the sausage curb. And Robert Smith, well, he's just started to pull away from Richie Michel, hasn't he? And he looks in control now at the end of this race.
Yeah, he does indeed. I'm still watching the DJ Phil Argent fight at the minute, and DJ Phil just putting his car right in the middle. Takes away the concentration having it on, needs to be banned when racing in leagues, in my opinion. The racing art.
Yeah, I agree. For example, there is some amateur drivers that we have that I don't think would benefit from it. So, you know, it's a story for a different day. But, yeah, you know, it's an interesting point to make. But it's going to be interesting to see. I believe that even Gary has it on, doesn't he, as well? Gary Leach, and he's a two-time champion as well as myself.
Yeah, yourself and Gary still have it on. I know a few others that do as well. But I think when I only had it back really on F1 games, really. But I don't think in leagues like ours should be really. We got a variety of drivers.
Oh, sorry, Dan, to cut you off. Argent squeezing DJ Phil on the outside. They just rubbed doors a little bit. DJ Phil, I'm sure, will be straight on the flasher button.
Definitely so. We'll have a look as he comes through this left. I mean, he's right on the back of Argent, and no flashy this time. Yeah, Graham has cleared some traffic here, but he's got Old Sim Racer has brought the gap down to 3.8. I mean, I will never use Racing Line ever again. I think it's the worst thing there is. But I do understand why people still use it. I'd rather people use it knowing where the braking zones are than
Being
not.
safe, yeah.
Yeah, because it then just takes away the fun, and then they go, I don't know where the braking point is. You know? I do think in possibly the pro category is something that needs looking at.
Oh, DJ Phil!
But
back up the inside of Kieran Argent. Kieran Argent's messed up the corkscrew. DJ Phil has a mid-corner slide, and Kieran Argent's back up the inside. So these two put in on a show at the end.
Graham just went straight on at the corkscrew as well, so Graham's starting to feel the pressure possibly from Old Sim Racer, who's just in the background. And he's bounced over the curb as well. He's got Paul Williams up the rear end of him as well. Graham crossing the line now. Old Sim Racer, what's the gap? 2.8. It's coming down slowly.
Yeah. Going to be close. Going to be close. Where is the leader? Coming up towards the corkscrew. So there's at least 2 laps left after this one.
Indeed.
Oh, actually no. 155. Oh, possibly. We'll have to keep our eyes on that, but we'll see what happens, because it's what, 123, 124. Let's say they're doing a lap. He's coming up to the penultimate corner at 143. So this will be close. This could be the final lap of the race. It could be also the penultimate lap that Robert Smith is about to start, as Argent's now cleared DJ Phil, and that one looks like it's put to bed. I assume that is Graham about to put a lap on them. Yes, it is. Can this race go on for another hour? It's too much fun. Argent nearly messes up the corkscrew yet again. No, the race will go, I think, one more after this then. We haven't had the word that it is the final lap, and Robert Smith doesn't have enough of a gap to slow down and let him cross the line.
But he does still have the penalty possibly hanging over his head, which he might know. Who knows? But Robert Smith, though, after tackling a hurricane, and now coming back, didn't have the best return back at Kyalami, but he comes here tonight and is back to his old Bathurst way.
Yeah, I think he got a disconnection and got back in the lobby race 1, but you look at race 2, he's been impeccable, hasn't he? He's sat there, he's been patient, he's waited, and he's done everything he's needed to do. Where is he now? Coming up towards the corkscrew with 31 seconds left. Just been a great race. Dennis Hansen now is on the back of Gomez. So Gomez's BMW started to die late on in this race. And Dennis Hansen, let's not forget, was running P2. Steve Beck was running P2. Robert Smith just carried on with his strategy, gone about his business. 15 seconds left. Car 96 has had a moment. That is somebody down the yard. That is Sam, who's had a moment out the kink. And towards the line comes Robert Smith. 5 seconds left on the clock. There's going to be one more lap here. He starts the final lap now. So there is one more to go, which gives Dennis Hansen a bit more time to catch Gomez. It gives Old Sim Racer a bit more time to catch the back of Graham, who has just put a lap on DJ Phil as well, by the way. And Old Sim Racer's 1.6 off the back of Graham. DJ Phil allows Old Sim Racer through. No, he doesn't. Comes back in. Sim Racer's now starting to flash the back of DJ Phil. DJ Phil not moving out of Old Sim Racer's way at the moment, Dan.
Yeah, this is tends to be some of DJ Phil's his stubbornness, where he doesn't want to move or get out of anyone's way. He's still racing. But Robert Smith, what a drive from him tonight as he's heading up towards the corkscrew.
Yeah, what a drive for him as now he clears DJ Phil. But Robert Smith, like you say, will go back to him.
Home race, thinking about it actually.
Yeah,
being in America.
Yeah. Didn't even think about that. Great home race for him. Robert Smith then. It's taken since Bathurst. It's not been the race he's wanted at Kyalami and race 1 tonight. But Robert Smith will be back on the top step of the podium. He's going to take yet another race win. It's 3 this season, tying him with Richie Michelle. He wins the race with Richie Michelle in second. Fastest lap for Richie Michelle as well. And this could be one of the more popular third places we're going to see. But he's got to get to the end. Old Sim Racer is there. No, he's 2 seconds back. All Graham's got to do is clear these next 3 corners. And that'll be him sorted. Here comes Graham then. One of the more popular podiums this will be, as Brian Craig and Monkey Boy have finished 12th and 13th, but Graham rounds the final corner. It does look like it's going to be P3 for him. It is a great time for him. Great to see him back on the podium. Graham returns with a podium here in race 2. Old Sim Racer finishes P4. Good result from him. Francisco Gomez will come across the line with a P5. Steve Beck, P6. Shame in that race. He was going good guns. Dennis Hansen will take the P7. Luke Saunders, P8, not a bad result for him in this one, with Robert Ramsell, P9 and P10. What a night of racing for the newbie. Lando Norris will come across the line for a P10. And I can find his name, there he is. Justin Winter's going to come for a P11 in this one. Brian Craig, P12. And then we can tumble down the order to John Goodey. Gary Clarble's another one who's late to finish, who I think might possibly have just ran out of fuel. DJ Phil was 16th. Paul Williams is crossed the line in 15th place. Fat Bloke crossed the line in P19. Good result for not a bad result, I should say. 14th for Sam. Rob Smith came across the line, P20. Kieran Argent was 15th place at the end of that one. Monkey Boy was down in 30th place. Decent result for him. John Goodey, after all them dramas, 21st. So he comes back and picks up some points. The Jackal, 18th place. Points in the bag for him. Cranky Duckhead in the Honda on his 50th race, 24th. Not the race he'd have wanted. Gary Clarbel crossed the line for 22nd. Then we've got Casper Olin down in 23rd. Playerman crossed the line in 25th. We will join the Discord chat now and get some interviews underway. So we'll be back in a few moments' time.
Green light, give us all you can.
Yeah, at the minute. Oh, this one.
Bridge is 7, what like? Bridge is 7, what like?
Right.
Matthew.
Hello, Max.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's because you've gone from Discord to
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
There he is. There he is. Right, I've got to get some fuckers in because he's not been here.